Town Challenge.
Hello, and welcome to the Saladcast on Saturday, the 1st of October, 2022. I'm your host, Dan Train. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
Yep, the first of the month.
And Robert Kemp.
I have been punched.
And also pinched, I guess.
Summarily.
In the opposite order of that. Yeah. Because that's a thing, apparently.
Yeah.
Really,
Is that okay?
all of
theory time.
those things are just excuses for children to beat each other up, right?
Yeah, is that-
like
yeah.
the yellow car one.
Oh, the OK
lucky,
symbol
I like
one,
that.
right? Or the circle game, right? The circle game's the classic. It's just like, oh, what's that on you? And they look at it and
That was such a pain.
a friend of mine actually did that to me the other day, and I'm like, seriously? Really? It was pretty funny. I gave him credit. He also lost the game.
I
and
lost
I'm
the
like,
game, yeah. I didn't give me a chance to lose. I'd already done. Oh, and now everyone listening. Oh, well.
I was immune from about a week ago when that happened.
Yeah.
There's a time limit on that.
Oh, yeah, I felt very old when that happened.
I know. It's like my streak's been going for 5 years.
Oh no, my streak. At least it didn't bug out like my Wordle streak did. I was disappointed. I got it up really quite high, and it was I had a pretty much a clean month,
Lost
like
the
where I
streak.
played it every day because you lose the streak if you like don't play it a day as well.
No.
So it's like I
don't
so
play this very often.
I'd had a full month, and then it just glitched out, and like I played and fired it up the next day, and it was just like, what do you mean I haven't got a streak?
Ah, that's not your fault.
No,
Oh, so you didn't lose one. You just
I didn't lose one. No,
lost the streak.
and since then I've cared a lot less.
yeah. What time of day do you do your daily Wordle?
First time I sit down on the toilet, honestly.
Well, obviously.
Effectively. It's a good toilet game. There's not that many good toilet games, but that's one. I don't use my phone on the loo.
No gets pretty grossed out when
Yeah,
whenever it comes up.
Yeah, people do. I mean,
And it's just like it's no real worse than like, well, what else am I going to do with this time? Like I could read.
No real worse than the toothbrush you put in your mouth every day.
that's in the same
It's
room.
in the toilet
and
constantly.
every time you flush it, it's not in the toilet. It's
in the room called the toilet.
And like when you flush the loo, apparently like it aerosols
Yes.
up everything into the whole room and probably
it's
flavors your toothbrush.
It can't be that bad, right?
Yeah.
What was the phrase that that we did the rounds? Like it just like bursts poo particles into the air.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then it shouldn't, right? Because the water's going down, and it should like
Well,
push it.
or, shut the lid when you flush the toilet.
or do that.
I don't do
That'll
that.
help
would,
somewhat.
That would also work.
Yeah, my electric toothbrush definitely comes with a little clear plastic cap to put over the bristles, which I do not use. I think that's for when you're travelling, rather than like just
Yeah,
having it out.
I've got like a full-on case.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
You can put the thing in. But it's,
Fortunately for me, we don't have any plugs in our bathroom, so my toothbrush goes in my room.
yeah, well, when it's charging, ours does because we don't have a shaver socket. Yeah, so I had to get a little adapter to plug in somewhere else.
I just find when you have them, they always break anyway. The shaver socket things.
Oh no, the one in my last house, or the ones in my last house, were pretty reliable.
Why do they come in two voltage flavors? Like, have you seen that? Have you
On
seen
the
that?
shaver sockets.
Yeah, they do, don't they? But I don't understand.
Yeah, because I just put it in the higher power one, but like, why are there two?
I don't know.
How much higher power is it?
It's like
They're double.
'Cause it's not-
Yeah.
It's like double. You can get
One-
half voltage
Is it
socket.
is it
for some
literally
reason.
230 or 220 or something, or 115, 110,
Yeah.
something in that range?
Yeah. Well, that's how it's labelled. I don't know, but I don't get
The
quite
230 ones are the new ones, though, right? Because it was always half voltage, because that was the whole point.
Was it the whole point?
Because you have the lower voltage in the bathroom where all the water is.
So is it that
Oh.
if you plug in an old device, an old shaver into the high power one, it's going to blow or whatever? But like a new
Possibly.
one can charge up faster if you put
Oh,
it in.
I assumed I don't know. I
Well, I assume
I
they
swear
were
I must
always
not have-
going to be low voltage, because that's why they have the different plug shape.
I swear I must not have cared, and I've just plugged it into whatever. And it's like I assume the transformer just deals with it,
Probably.
like on modern gear anyway.
Oh, I'm sure it does. But surely, obviously, it's going to charge faster if you can get.
Yeah,
more
I guess it depends on
more power.
on how it's doing the step down to 110. Is the actual current higher, like because of transforming, or is it literally just resisting it down to 100? How does that socket work?
Yeah, how does that socket work at all?
Maybe it just doesn't draw as much power from. But I'm like, why not put it in the high power one? That's what I always do. But
yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't know. UK electrical bathroom situation talk. I also now always assume that the switch for the bathroom is outside the bathroom itself, the light.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because it is in my one, and it is in most modern.
Yes,
London
it is
places.
in ours as well. Apart from
that's
in
the
the
thing.
ensuite, the other ones have a dangle cable.
You've got the dangle cable, so I always go in your bathroom and I switch whatever it is that's outside.
Oh, you push the landing light.
Yeah, accidentally, because
the one that you never have to touch because it's automatic.
Exactly, but I always accidentally have to turn that on and off because it's in the exact position where it would be in a.
Okay, next time you do that, I won't immediately assume you've got OCD.
No, that's not why. I just assume, it's like, why isn't the light turning on? Oh, there's a pull cord thingamajiggy.
I have to admit, I don't really like those pull cord things,
No.
especially the one in the downstairs loo. I always whack it when I'm coming out, and it just then whaps around for ages.
Well, that's just it's slightly badly positioned, but you need it right next to the door because that's the point.
Yeah, you do need it right next to the door, but it's like as if you just nudge it when it goes, because then it swings around and then it hits the wall several times, and it's just a clack, clack, clack.
You could get a less heavy pull thing.
Yeah, I guess
It's just like a chunk of metal in your bathroom.
That is true.
Not quite a chunk of metal, but it's similar.
Yeah, it's pretty lumpy, isn't it? I suppose, less pendulum effect.
Yeah. We have the exact opposite problem in our downstairs bathroom where people will never turn the light off because the switch is on the outside.
Right, so you just leave it on. Yeah.
And I'm like, how have you not learned this yet?
I mean, if you
like when you walk in, you have to switch it on the outside. Do you not just automatically press the switch on the way out?
I mean, does yours have an extractor fan?
Yeah, as well.
If you can hear it.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's how we tell. We'd be sitting down in the living room and just be like, what the hell's that noise?
How I can tell,
Yeah.
it's directly below my bedroom. And I'm like, someone's fucking left the light on again.
You can just hear this.
Although, honestly, I can't, when I'm wearing my headphones, I can't really distinguish it over the sound of my PC's fan right next to me,
Sure.
so it's not too much of a problem.
Man, that fan must have been spinning pretty much 24/7 for quite a few years.
Yep. And it's only slightly squeaky still. It's still got the mysterious, coming and going squeak where it's sometimes it's just fine for ages, and then sometimes it just has this weird occasional squeak for ages.
What?
No matter how
Extractor
many-
fan or your
The PC.
No, the PC.
PC fan? Oh, yeah.
But I'm just no matter how many times I've taken those fans apart and re-oiled them, oiling them doesn't help, which is I don't know, I'm fairly convinced it must be a part of the fan hitting a part of the case. It's not like it's on the axle or anything. Because I've oiled it to shit. All of those fans. Even the one in the power supply. I fucking took the power supply apart and got to that fan.
You did?
Seriously?
Isn't that
Wow.
dangerous?
Okay, yeah.
Not that dangerous once you understand where the fan is just on the power supply. So once you've taken the case off, you just move that to the side and don't touch any of that shit and only touch the bit that's the fan.
Yeah, you
Right.
just got to be a little careful, right? Because it has residual capacitance a
Yes.
bit. So it's.
Yeah.
I
I wouldn't recommend listeners taking your power supply
No.
apart. But yeah.
generally not.
These days you can get them that are they have a fan, but it only turns on when it
needs to.
sometimes, yeah. Mostly silent. With a big heatsink.
Yeah.
Though they're quite heavy, I bet. But nowadays the case designs, the power supply goes at the bottom. It always used to be at the top.
That's where
Yeah.
my power supply is.
At the bottom.
As well.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah. Likewise.
When did that flip over? Because it was always at the top in.
Well, apparently sometime before 2012 when I got my PC.
Yeah. I think back then it was still kind of in flux.
Yeah.
You could still get both. Whereas, that seems pretty standard now. Well, maybe it's standard in the cases you actually go and buy. I don't know if you just got some OEM PC. Maybe it's still in a weird place, but like an HP tower or something.
I don't think that's. I mean, putting it at the bottom is okay, but I think the problem that I had with my PC, well, it's not really a problem, I guess, or at least it's not a noticeable problem, but the fan intake is on the bottom, and it just it's completely dust encrusted because it sucks the dust directly off the surface that it's adjacent to. It's just why is that? I mean, put the other way around, put the intake on the back and the output at the bottom and blow all the dust away.
I mean, maybe, but the outtake's more important, right? It needs to be able to actually have clean flow out.
Is it though? Because like the amount of flow is, it's the same out of both of them in theory.
Yeah, I guess. But it can suck from inside the case as well, right? Because
No.
these things are quite
Because it's
venti.
no, the fan in the inside my case, the outer case of the power supply is like a
it's
solid
just
box.
solid. Oh, okay,
And then
yeah.
there's the two grills, the one that goes out the back and the one on the bottom.
All right, fair enough. I'm tempted to go off mic and just peer into my case.
You
See
wouldn't be able
what-
to see it from there, I don't think. No, it's way too
No,
dark.
well, the fan is definitely on the bottom. I can see that
Yes.
much. So it's likewise, it's probably exhausting into the floor.
And if
Or-
you have a more substantial carpet than Rob does have here, that's surely going to be a problem. You've got carpet going up into that vent.
I don't think I've even got the feet on this case because this case did have little feet if I wanted to put them on. I must have something. I can't have put it straight to carpet. I'm not that stupid.
I wonder if,
I've
like,
got a little foot. I can feel a little foot. I'm jamming my toe into it.
I wonder if, like, do you think the power supply or all of the rest of the components in the PC puts out more heat?
That's a good question because the power supply is
Surely the rest of the PC.
like it's where all the power is, right? So you'd think
Yeah.
it might be.
Yeah, but the power is for the processor.
the power is for the processor, yeah, and
I
it's
think
the.
that puts out the most heat.
No, I bet it's the GPU.
Well,
It depends what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
obviously.
The GPU must be the because like that they just have more fans on those GPU cards generally.
Well,
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that it puts out more heat. It might just put out more heat in a smaller space.
I suppose when you're playing a 3D game, like a modern game or whatever, well, any kind of game, 3D game, then it's probably using the silicon in the GPU more consistently, like every frame, than the CPU is probably going up and down depending on demand a bit more
Maybe, yeah.
in terms of power draw.
But then frame in most game engines, frame rate is kind of a fixed thing, and there could be less and more actual stuff to do per frame, right?
That's true.
Like
No, that's true.
it's and same with the CPU, right? It's like so it is going to be moving around.
Yeah, that's true.
Assuming you're not running to the wire, all the time, and like assuming you can hit 60 and you've got 3 cycles to.
But then that's still not helping us determine anything about the power supply's heat
Power draw.
No,
energy.
I mean,
no.
we could just look at
I mean, the GPU is like almost certainly the most power hungry part of your PC by a long shot, like individually.
you got gaming.
But
PC.
I
yeah,
mean, that's the thing that I always slightly confuses. Well, it's not confusing exactly. It's like unintuitive about PCs and how they even work. Where it's just like you have a power supply that's like fucking 800 watts or whatever, which probably never actually draws that
Ridiculous,
much.
yeah.
no, it ideally it should never get near that.
But the whole point of the power supply is to take that ridiculous amount of power and basically compress it into like a 12 volt supply, but an insane like
current.
ampage.
Yeah.
So it can force the electrons through these tiny nanometer channels or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
So that's like it's really weird where you're like you've got this thing plugged into mains, but everything past that is 12 volts at most.
Wasn't that news like recently that Samsung's down to like a 3 nanometer process?
Well, they
or
keep
something?
trying, but like
It's all dependent, isn't it, on the TSMC or whoever the actual chip
Yeah, so
foundry is.
that was the part of the news thing, right? Samsung are doing it themselves,
right.
and they've got down to 3 nanometers,
In-
and
in
TMN,
Korea?
yeah, in Korea,
Korea,
and TMNC, the supplier to almost everyone,
Everyone.
is currently hanging around. What is it, 6?
Really?
I want to say 5 or 6,
I
something
thought they
like
were
that.
in the lead. That's interesting that Samsung. So.
Yeah, I think they've got prototypical 2, like 2 nanometers, but like they're not usable. Whereas Samsung claim they've got usable.
Meanwhile, they're building a whole bunch of chip foundries in the US, right? That will start. Going
Yeah,
online.
everyone's going to Texas.
Yeah.
which will be fun when the power grid fucks up.
Oh god, yeah. I'm sure they'll have like their own power plants, basically.
You would hope so.
Backup power plants to run.
They'll just make the factories wide and flat and then cover them in solar panels in Texas, right? It's
As if. As if you're going to get that in America.
that's what the Tesla factory is, right?
The Giga.
Because
factory.
Tesla,
In theory, yes.
and they're in Texas, so space isn't the problem. Unless, I don't know,
But heat is a problem.
heat is a problem. But then you can convert that to power.
If
Somehow,
only.
yeah.
If only.
Yeah.
Just to make every surface black and then heat a thing.
It'd be nice.
Science.
That's the kind of heat exchanger magic you want from like as if you were playing Austin Not Included or something, where you're just like, here's all this heat coming out of my PC. I can just run it through this machine that turns it back into electricity. And there you go. That'd be helpful.
Just suck all the latent energy out of particles.
Yep.
Spit out some absolute zero waste somewhere.
More and more heat exchangers, though, isn't it? Like replacing boilers, aren't they? The heat pumps.
pumps,
Yeah,
yeah.
it seems to be the thing.
I mean,
Yes.
it should be way more of a thing
Yeah,
in England where everyone has gardens.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
I don't know
a
why
lot of
they-
people have gardens. It's because they're expensive,
Well,
right?
it's
It's like
obviously-
they're not mandated to go into new builds, and also they cost, I want to say, maybe 5 to 10 grand
Yeah.
to install.
Really?
Insufficient subsidies, unlike solar had.
Is that
So
why
the
we didn't
had,
have
yeah,
them?
but it's not really.
No,
It's
not
not so
anymore.
much anymore. Yeah,
Is that why we didn't have these heat pumps like in the past? Because it's not new technology, is it? But maybe it's just made now.
maybe it's just
affordable
refined
or
to a
something.
certain good point, or
Yeah.
because it's got to the point where they're chucking them in cars.
Well, I mean, it's basically an air conditioning unit, essentially. Same idea, just like turned around the other way. Or alternatively, it's both. You can actually have the heat pump system do both things, but you just like switch it. You just toggle it to be like heat goes in or heat goes out.
That would be good. I'd like that. I'd like some aircon. Don't care about the heat part, but I'd like some aircon.
Yeah, I mean, after this summer, I think people are going to start thinking about aircon in Britain for the first time. Well,
Yeah.
not the first time, but just thinking more seriously.
Should be built into houses. We should have taken the American
No,
approach.
it shouldn't. Heat pumps, yes. Actual air conditioning, no.
Well, if you can then store all the heat you're sucking from rooms,
Well, I
and then
mean, now
use that to power your house.
Now you're talking about the even more like where there's those super insulated houses where they're just like, we use the house as a heat battery. Where it's just like we store. I can't remember where that was. I think maybe it was Texas again, but they were like, we can dump heat through people's heating systems into their house when there's lots of energy, and then you basically use the thermostats to just like maintain it for longer by just you shove it in when the energy's cheap, but then don't let them turn the AC on to get rid of the heat. Basically, it's like basically power companies controlling the thermostats in your house.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I'll try like that.
No.
Yeah, as soon as we can suck the heat out of the air and turn it into power, we'll be good.
I don't think that's going to happen. Not in any kind of efficient way. I even remember like heat pumps are like 40% at best, right?
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's been getting better.
And don't they just use, latent ground heat as well, like for half of it? So it's,
Well, that's why. That's
Yeah,
That's where it
That's the
comes
idea.
from.
yeah, because it's 40% of free energy in essence.
Yes, but you still have to
You have to put some of that
some
in,
energy
sure,
into it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it makes doubly sense for out here to think about heat pumps where gas lines aren't a thing.
Out in the country.
Yeah.
You haven't got gas, have you?
No.
In this house.
No, we don't have gas lines
So
available.
you're not
I think
beholden to Vladimir Putin or whatever,
No, but we still got to get oil. Yeah,
I guess.
We are. I think Rob, we're like slightly overemphasizing Rob's countryside-ness.
I mean, we're not
As
that
we've
far.
previously talked
Yeah.
about several times, like me and Rob live about 5 minutes apart, and yet somehow we're on nearly completely different utility networks.
This is more country than yours. You're more in the quote-unquote town.
We're literally like 500 yards apart, and there's just
Yeah.
a railway between us, and that's it. Oh, and a river.
well, yeah, I guess a railway is a significant obstacle.
It's like when they were doing the SimCity of this, the gamer didn't pull the
Yeah.
gas line down. that far.
Didn't
Yeah.
go under this
Just
road.
left, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't bother around here. I don't know why. I guess it is only like a tiny little collection of houses, really.
Well,
here.
yeah, but it is only like right adjacent to an actual town.
Actually,
not that
yeah,
different,
it's not
yeah.
far. I wonder if they've got it down the road at Aldercar Farm, which is also like half a mile away. Like,
I wouldn't have thought they have gas.
do you reckon they'd
Maybe.
guess?
I mean, I would assume that it is just because the railway and the river are right there, so it
They
would
didn't
be
bother going
more
under.
inconvenient to run the network through that.
Yeah,
Although the power one doesn't make sense.
I think
the power line that
I think
is
the power
apparently-
goes over.
Yeah, the power line that is apparently connected to my house is on this side of the railway, at least.
Yeah, the power to us definitely goes over the river. In some terrible looking lines. Or at least part of it. Also, I didn't have water yesterday, so that was fun.
Yeah.
Um,
There's the water disaster that's been going on around here recently, apparently.
yeah.
I mean, I once
Everything's
lost,
exploding.
I lost water in London once, like because there was, and I was like, there's no water pressure, and then I went to work, and then I started seeing the pictures on the news of like streets that look very much like my street, completely underwater, like really. And luckily, it was a few streets away from me. But yeah, the main burst or whatever. But I was in a basement flat at the time. I was like, this is not good. I think there was quite a bit of damage to basement flats on that street when that happened.
Sure.
And I think it's still blocked off there down there. It's years later now. Like and they still haven't presumably they repaired it quite quickly, but why there's that street is still blocked off, I'm not sure. I don't know. With like hoardings that say Thames Water and stuff like that. It's near Finsbury Park.
I saw a bit of like a ground fountain yesterday, so it can't have been great.
Spurting.
Yeah. And a guy in a very dirty white boiler suit with a massive rod. Not careful.
As it were.
Careful.
Wink, wink.
Yeah. Sticking into the ground and him just taking a little step back at it and sort of putting his hands on his hips and going,
Well, judging by the state of the road up there, it does look like that kind of situation. But I don't understand why they dug a hole not where the water was coming from.
Well, they must know what they're doing. They fixed it, didn't they?
Yeah.
No, they haven't fixed it.
I mean,
thought they
we've
had.
got water here.
No, the water's on, but it's not fixed.
Yeah.
You can look in that hole up the road and just see the pipe that is leaking directly into this hole.
Right.
And then slightly, as I said, when I was walking up here, I noticed slightly further up the road, another house's mains line appears to be leaking as well. Because they fixed one leak, which made this new leak, and now in the process of fixing this new leak, it looks like they've made a third leak.
You reckon it's like some kind of like, I guess because while they're redirecting it, some pressure build-up happens and then finds a weak point
Some
on
extra pressure.
on the rest of the network, and then it just propagates. They fix one and then it finds the next weak point and on it goes.
And I'm all we can hope, or I mean, I don't care. I guess all Rob can hope is that after they fix this one pipe that's leaking, they actually fix that other one at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I can very much see a bureaucracy situation happening where it's just like, well, that one's not in our zone of work, so we have to leave and come back.
I mean, I think it's all Anglian water.
Well,
around
yes,
here, so
obviously.
I hope that's not a thing. But also, I mean, at least I have 3 toilets in this house. That's what I'm saying. You get 3 flushes.
All right, with the stored
system. The stored cistern water.
Okay.
And then you're out.
I never thought that before. That's how much backup you have.
Yeah, I was drinking Coke all that afternoon because I had a bottle of Coke.
You have a sugar crash after.
It was Max. It's Pepsi Max, not Coke, I suppose.
It's also not Coke.
Okay.
So I was getting my aspartame fix. I
Aspartame.
suppose.
Yeah, great.
Aspartame crash, yeah.
Clearly never.
That was my house grouse, I suppose, for the week.
What's the opposite of house grouse? Because you got some fancy carpets going on.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think we mentioned that. Did we mention that?
House
one, Mark?
plush.
Yeah, I got a plush.
House very plush.
Partially mentioned.
Well, I didn't get to put my
Experience it.
feet on them yet, so until then. So.
House mouse? Positive mouse? No, a house mouse is a bad thing, isn't it?
House spouse.
My house spouse. Well, yeah, I suppose I am a house spouse, as is no.
No, with an E, a spouse. You're talking about your house.
A spouse.
But not
House
writing about
spouse.
it.
That's good.
House spouse.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. was espousing the benefits of your.
Well, and if the water main broke, it would be a house douse.
Yeah,
That's
possibly.
true. You avoided the house douse.
Did avoid the house douse. Yeah, we got some fancy carpets. I can't help myself now. It's become habit that every time I walk into my bedroom and I'm walking along that carpet, I just say, sponge, sponge, sponge,
Oh,
sponge.
sponge. It's a thick pile.
It is.
That is a pile.
It is well shag.
It is well shag.
I just don't know what the meaning of shag is in the realm of carpets.
Does shag have is can you
Probably.
describe a number to? Is that a quantitative?
Quantitative
property?
what, like tog of like a duvet?
Like tog,
It's like,
yeah,
this-
yeah.
Like this carpet
Shag.
is 12 shag.
shag.
Well, or shag is just like
15 pile.
or shag is just like one of the numbers on like pile and then shag. Like it's a scale that goes further up than
The qualitative scale.
Yeah.
Like, well, so is it like just a pile and then shag pile and then
just pure shag.
shag.
All right, back to the shag pile. Yeah.
Shagwa.
Jaguar, yeah, baby.
Yeah, I think it's up in possibly in Shagwa range. it's well flush.
Like does just straight fur come up after shag? You just have a literal fur carpet.
Or does it become like trampoline? Is that the step further where it's just like it's literally bouncy?
I was thinking you can't get a fur carpet, but you can get fur rugs. So
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
I mean, there's several reasons you wouldn't probably want an
no,
entire fur carpet.
it's a bad idea, but
Yeah, I mean,
people
Money
do.
and Peter will be giving you a call.
Oh yeah,
Well, I mean,
yeah,
it
of
can
course.
still
Yeah.
be fake fur, but if you spill anything on that, it's going to be even more of a nightmare than carpet.
It's
carpet.
already bad.
I mean, I did that. In the middle of the night, I rolled over and my hand whapped a glass off my bedside table. Like
you're
within,
whapping everything at the moment.
within I'm whapping my bathroom cables and whapping my drinks off bedside tables, and yeah, so that was it was like within the first week of us having it done, and I was like just audibly in the middle of the night, just for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's only
Heating
water, right?
I mean, when do I only have water?
At night while you're sleeping, I would hope.
I mean, I don't just have like Coca-Cola next to my bed or a tinny. No, it's like
Tinny's in bed.
it's like blackcurrant or something,
Yeah.
like or orange juice or squash. I always drink squash. Every circumstance, squash. Except right now, which is beer.
Well, and also squash.
And also squash, yeah, my backup beverage because I'm a fish.
Squash. They stopped making the squash with the high juice with the sugar in it. The marks that I
You
used.
mean the good stuff?
Yeah, I always used to look because they had the bottles are almost identical. There's the no added sugar one and the
Lots
good
of
one.
sugar one.
Yeah, well, the no added sugar one has a little blue stripe on it, but now they've just got rid of them, and now they only have, and they're like new flavor, but it's like or new recipe, but it's like you can only get the.
so they're not as good.
Well, no, I think that it's the end for high juice because of the sugar tax, presumably.
I guess, but aren't they getting rid of that? Like, was that-
yeah, that's like Trussonomics.
regular Coca-Cola might become a normal price again. We wouldn't have to pay 30p more at McDonald's.
Yeah, well, we'll see which of these ridiculous policies actually last. I actually think the sugar tax is a good idea. I'm happy to pay more
Yeah,
for it,
it's-
as long as I have the option.
Yeah,
what I'm annoyed
exactly.
about is there's no option.
I mean, it works, right?
yeah,
It definitely works.
I'm really pro sugar tax, and obviously that's stupid to get rid of. But obviously, I mean, in this government, they're going to try.
And I mean, I don't know why. It shouldn't. In theory, it shouldn't really affect the companies that much.
But it does because they like.
Because they lose sales on those products, right? It's the companies that don't specifically do sugar-free type stuff, like what?
Yeah,
Like the Mars company might struggle a bit, right? Because chocolate bar, I guess they just make the chocolate bars smaller and do shrinkflation
that's
on
what
them.
they do. Shrinkflation it. Shrink it
But
up.
if you're making both sugar, low sugar and normal sugar, then like that shouldn't really affect you
No,
at all,
I
right?
guess-
Because
I
you're getting more money for the people who are still buying the sugar one, but there might be less people buying that than there are the other one now.
I wonder if it actually is like
Well, presumably it
non-alcohol
costs-
beer that's actually harder to produce,
Yes,
right?
presumably it does cost them more money to have separate manufacturing lines.
Sure,
But if
yeah.
they were already doing that anyway, then that's
Well, I mean,
not
if
a
they're
cost.
gonna make Pepsi raspberry, then sure, that's their own fault.
What I find weird is how they do it kind of makes sense, but how they do the shrinkflation specifically on the sugar tax product. So like you can have a 330ml normal size can of Coke Zero on the shelf, but then if you want full fat Coke, it's the small,
they
the
did
250ml can.
They did actually change the can, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
But they changed the price on the bottles. Like the big
of
ass
course,
bottles.
because
They're
they
still
stay the same
size.
500ml size, so they're more expensive. But
And on the big bottles, right? There's still the 2 litres and the...
right.
Well, except Coke have like a billion different sizes now, and you have to watch out. Like, sometimes it's the 2 litre bottle, sometimes it's a 1.5, and then you get the svelte, nice looking
just
1.25s
trying to
that
confuse
look
you
way
up.
bigger than they should be, but they're not. They're not really.
But like, it's convenient, but plastic PET bottles are not the right thing for a carbonated beverage because it literally leaks out the fizziness when it's closed. Like,
You're not drinking it fast enough. That's the answer.
By the time you drink, well,
I mean, as Rob well knows from drinking flat beverages for many years,
I'm educated.
doesn't get through it sufficiently quickly.
yeah, but surely it's losing carbonation just sitting on the shelf compared to a can.
Not as
I mean,
much
how much
as...
does it just sit there for? How
Yeah,
many
I guess.
weeks
That's
does
maybe
it
not
sit
that
on the
long.
shelf?
I assume that's what the best before date's for.
They're definitely not as
Because it probably doesn't go, like... Their best before date is probably well
That's
before
true.
the beverage is actually, like,
flat.
unfit for human consumption.
Oh yeah.
I mean, everyone knows that glass bottle Coke is the best, but you can't,
Somehow, yeah.
you can't do that.
And that's still a thing. I don't think they... That used to be the trick, right? You get, if you're ever eating at Frankie and Benny's, because they had both...
Ask for the bottle.
Yeah, ask for the bottle, because they had both the post-mix stuff and the bottles. And it's
Right.
like, I want Coke, but from the bottle.
You know all
and then
about
you get
the-
the good stuff.
The post mix.
And at that point in time, there wasn't actually really a price difference.
Yeah.
So asking for the
impressive.
bottle actually kind of worked, was just the better choice. And it's like, why would you do this?
Yeah, strictly better, as they say.
But now I don't think that's true. I think the bottles gained an extra, like a premium value to them. Have you seen like the fancy Cokes they do occasionally? Like Coke as a drink mixer.
Yeah, I did see those.
They're
I can't
weird,
be
aren't
bothered
they?
to try those.
Yeah, they look like they've got like a vintage label on them or some sort. They're trying to like
so many weird
They
products.
try to make it like it has cocaine in it, actually.
posh them up somehow. Yeah.
Well, yes, that's what I'm saying. They're trying to make you think that it's going back to the old school, but they're never going to really
This
do
is,
it.
prohibition,
No.
this is Prohibition era Coca-Cola.
I bet a lot of the alcohol in Prohibition was probably pretty bad.
Oh, I
Well,
bet.
moonshine, obviously, just go. But even like Canada Club whiskey or whatever, I bet it wasn't very good.
Bathtub gin.
I suppose no one cared.
I mean, some gins actually still advertise themselves as like, this is a bathtub gin. Like, I think that's a thing.
Yes.
Like,
Right. Yeah.
okay, this is a podcast about video games.
Yeah.
Or about food, as usual, because we can never stop ourselves.
I mean, it's Domino's night, so
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
We're already thinking about pizza.
get hype. I mean, we didn't have pizza last week, and I haven't actually had pizza since the last time we had pizza. So for me,
That's rare.
I'm on edge.
Yeah.
I'm on edge. I've
need
got the
your
shakes.
fix. Yeah.
I haven't had. Well, actually, in fairness, the burger I had last night had quite a large amount of cheese in it. But
So it was always a pizza anyway. As always.
you just take the bread off. It's like a meat-based pizza.
It's a pizza level. Yeah. Wasn't quite there. Need that fix.
So yeah, get hype.
Pizza and bad.
Oh yeah.
Blockbuster movie.
We've definitely got to find a bad movie.
Yeah.
Right? Well, a bad good movie, right? It's the thing is you got to find the bad good.
Well, that's really hard. Like
Yeah. I mean, National Treasure like came to mind as something we should probably rewatch because it's bad good, right?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Well, yeah, maybe the first one.
Yeah.
Probably goes into just bad after that, I think.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'd never seen the second one. In fairness, I've only seen the first. Did he do it? A bit of my head is now going. Did they do a Gone in 60 Seconds sequel or something? Was it? I assume it wasn't Nick
think so.
Cage. And like,
You're just getting confused with like Fast and
Fast and
Furious.
Furious.
Yeah, I probably am,
Maybe we should
yeah.
just work our way through some of those Fast and Furious films. I think.
I mean, I'm all up for that because
Yeah.
I legitimately enjoy Fast and Furious.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's
Well,
good.
I enjoyed Gone in 60 Seconds, actually.
Yeah, no,
that was quite good.
It's a good film.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
It's not good bad. Like,
No.
that's just straight up good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, some of the Fast films could definitely be considered good bad. But actually, like, I think I'm more on the side that they're just good.
I mean, they do vary in quality somewhat, but they then change in tone.
I haven't seen the most recent one, I don't think.
I mean, they've become this like.
And I've lost track of what number that is. Fast 8, maybe.
Right, because they always have to have some weird variation on the title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at one point they did just drop it to being just Fast, and then they went back to Fast and Furious, and then
Just Furious?
But it was the. Oh yeah, did they do a Just Furious? They might have done that.
Faster and Furiosa.
I haven't seen Tokyo Drift.
Ah, okay.
That's a blind spot. I haven't seen Tokyo Drift, but apparently that's like the worst.
Right.
Like
okay.
by quite a way. The only thing I have stuck in my head constantly about Tokyo Drift is that goddamn Rocket League goal music that is playing all the damn time. Oh, that Tokyo Drift, Drift, Drift. Video games.
Video games.
Rocket League, we did it.
Found the same.
What's happening in video games these last 2 weeks?
Nothing.
Very little.
Puffin.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a
It's a seabird.
a semi-game related story, I guess, about something that I was doing last week. And also, I guess, related to real news that Dan has partially mentioned just a minute ago about the state of the economy. But so
Honey, I Shrunk the Quids, right?
yeah. But
Oh, that's good. I like that.
But I was thinking, for some reason, that combined with video games, I was like, I should pre-order Zelda.
Because
What, like a physical copy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, if I go on Amazon, they have like their pre-order price guarantee, right? So it won't matter
Yeah.
if the economy gets more fucked up in the coming months.
oh, I see.
I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And also, I should just pre-order Zelda anyway. I guess I should. That's something I'm going to play.
We're definitely going to buy it.
Do you think Nintendo would go to the... I don't think Nintendo could get away with going to the $70 range.
Well,
They probably could for frickin'
for Zelda.
Zelda.
I mean, maybe, but like...
I mean, if any game's worth it, then
I mean, but consumer
Probably that
perception
one.
is going to be like, oh, but they're like a generation behind. It's like it's not so much at work, is it? It's like there's
Well,
the assets.
that hasn't stopped them selling ridiculously
No, it
like
hasn't.
£50 stuff already.
the asset. Well, I suppose you could argue that Splatoon 3 is an asset flip of Splatoon 2, like for 50 quid.
I mean, how much do they sell frickin' Mario Kart 8 for now?
Well,
Still
but that
50
that
quid?
has like
Yeah.
extra content though. Like,
Yeah.
well,
yes.
yeah, it's 50
The
quid,
deluxe.
and that's got all the DLC from 8, and then some more, the deluxe version anyway. And then that course pass,
Oh.
even if the courses aren't as good a
Great.
quality as the ones in 8 Deluxe,
There's a lot of them.
it's still a bargain.
It's a Wii U game. Anyway, yeah.
It is a Wii U game. They should make another Mario Kart.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I went on Amazon to try and pre-order not Breath of the Wild. I'm going to keep calling it that. Tears of the Kingdom. Went on Amazon to try and pre-order it. It's not fucking there. And I was like,
Oh, isn't it?
what? And then I went onto and then I turned on my Switch. I went in the store. It's not there either. You just
Oh,
can't pre-order
wow.
it yet.
Okay.
That's
So
unusual.
that kind of scuppered my whole plan.
That is unusual. So Nintendo haven't even opened it up.
No,
I don't think
apparently.
you have to worry about the price of that game.
I mean, I think that's going to be a straight 50. There's going to be no way around it.
No.
Maybe top tip, maybe check out shop2.net. I got my copy of Splatoon, £10 cheaper than everywhere else.
But like, it's
Physical
like,
copy.
you know,
Check in with them.
Amazon is traditionally like, well, Amazon's also good for release day. Like they
are good for that,
Get it
yeah.
there.
I mean, and in fairness to, again, also Shop2, got my Splatoon 3 copy day of. Good stuff.
But also, I always go for physical copies as well because my Switch doesn't have any space.
And my copy of Splatoon 3 from Shop2 also came with a squid-shaped key ring that's up on my pinboard. Freebies. So £10 off and a freebie. Get in.
They're bound off and 2p of plastic.
Yeah. 100%.
But I was surprised that there's no pre-orders for that yet. Not even
Yeah.
not even Amazon like pre-orders where they just put it up before the actual companies even tell you what the price is.
Like, look, I'm not going to get behind pre-order culture, but, like, I don't know, maybe it matters more for a physical version than it does for
Yeah.
other versions, but I'm not going to get super into that. But still, I'm very surprised. You'd think as soon as they announced it and gave it a hard date, they'd be like, and pre-orders are available now.
Yeah.
Like everyone else is.
There was even a news post like a couple of days later on the Switch where it was talking about, I guess, the trailer for that game, and that wasn't even the announcement of pre-orders. It was just like, here, look at this trailer again.
The question is, if they did open up pre-orders and you pre-ordered it, would you get some horse armor?
Well, yeah. What is the bonus? Because they have done that. Like,
Did they do a pre-order bonus for something? That's not a very Nintendo thing to do, is it? Like pre-order bonuses. And to their credit, I prefer that places didn't do that.
well, no, I guess I guess it was pre-order bonuses for the DLC. It was like DLC pre-order bonuses. If you bought the pass, you get items.
All right.
Before they'd actually made any of the pass available.
That's a little different because then
Yeah.
I guess if the pass comes out, then those items would just be in it, right? Or
Well, kind of, except they're still like unlocked.
yeah,
by
but you can
owning
acquire
the
them.
pass.
Yeah, that's kind of okay.
Not exactly pre-order bonuses, but sort of.
It's like how like
Pre-orders of the DLC bonus.
it's like how like when you like almost any Assassin's Creed comes to mind, right? And it gives you like some like gear that is at the start of the game just makes the start of the game super easy until you eventually get gear that supersedes it and it becomes pointless.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, don't do that. That's literally changing the flow of your game. Don't do that. They probably could have got away with it in Splatoon, right? Because it would just be like a gear style. And then maybe if you could, like, then or other players could then order it from merch, right? So you couldn't earn it through the stores or something like
Well,
that.
they
But
wouldn't let you get a pre-order bonus from the in-game mechanism. That would
yeah,
ruin the
but
whole
you
point.
can make it real expensive and make it so you actually have to like earn it. But
I mean, did they not give you any like random bonus shit for having the demo, for playing the demo?
No.
Or Splatfest, I guess.
no, I don't think they did. I don't think they gave you anything.
That
They-
is the other thing that Nintendo do frequently.
and they gave
It's like if
they
you-
had some minor hooks for if you had a Splatoon 2 save,
Right.
but even that wasn't like you got extra gear or anything like that. It literally changed dialogue in the game to be like, oh, you already know what you're doing.
Well, okay. Skip tutorials.
No, they didn't skip them.
Oh, what?
It just changed the wording. Because that is the very first thing you have to do in Splatoon 3 is play the tutorial.
Well, it's what you have to do in Splatoon 2. It's what they had to do in all of those games.
Oh, and, set up the look of your
It's weird.
Inkling and Small Fry pointlessly. Give Small Fry a haircut. So Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Zach's so hype he's getting on the pre-order train.
Well, kind of.
Not going to pre-order Sonic Frontiers.
No.
I'm really hoping that's coming to Game
I
Pass.
don't have to. I'm just going to come here and watch you play it. / help you play it. Depending on what happens.
I mean, I think we've said this every week since it's been announced, but the swell behind Sonic Frontiers is increasing.
Swell.
The swell of hype, yeah.
The hype factor. Hype train.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, was it both Nintendo Life and Good Vibe Gaming posted videos fairly recently saying, we've played a hefty chunk of it. Oh, because EGX happened, right? And I didn't go this year. So, like, Sonic Frontiers demos were playable at EGX in various forms. So I think people went out there and got, like, some decent playtime with it. And they were like, this is actually good. So get hyped for Sonic. I mean,
Not too hyped.
we've been bitten before,
Yep.
but get hyped for Sonic.
Because, I mean, you have to think about that Forces demo.
Yeah, because it was the best part of the game.
And also, like, the level was like a minute long and you thought that wasn't the whole level, but it was.
But it was the whole level. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, God, Sonic Forces. Fuck. Go watch our video series. Don't buy that game. Go watch our video series.
Yes, clearly. Clearly, watching us play it is the superior option.
Yeah.
For several reasons.
And then watch episode Shadow.
Yes, also.
Because everybody loves Shadow. Everybody hates Shadow.
Is there any other Sonic news? I think is there a new cartoon or something coming?
Yeah, they're still-
Yeah. Did that actually launch? Was it Sonic Prime? I think it's called.
Yeah.
I think some people have seen it on
not
Netflix.
on Amazon,
but-
is it?
No, it's Netflix.
Yeah, that's why it's weird. It's not Amazon Prime Sonic.
Right,
It's just called Prime.
But no, but I guess Netflix picked up Sonic Boom, right? And they've got
Yeah.
Sonic X. They're like, Netflix are into Sonic, is what they're trying to say.
Well, currently, until they get rid of it.
Yeah, I don't think you can watch Sonic the Hedgehog the movie on Netflix. So they're sort of into Sonic.
When are they going to get the old cartoons? Get them in there.
Oh man, if they put Satam on,
Yeah.
I'd be so happy.
All the other ones.
Man, I'd even fucking watch Underground just to see what the shit
Yeah,
that is.
exactly.
I've never seen that.
I've only seen parts of it, but it's weird.
I could do without the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well,
I don't really care.
yeah.
I don't want to hear what is that what cluck, whatever that scratch. Yeah, go.
Yes, you do.
No, I've got it in my head. It's emblazoned there.
Exactly.
I don't need to hear it again.
But how are you going to know what the reference is in Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine if you don't watch that?
I mean, I watched it at the time
Sure.
because I was an impressionable idiot.
And who's going to
Ça change.
who's going to get an actually like legitimate upload of like Earthworm Jim? So I can not have to
Oh my
watch
God.
my shit ass like 640p video files that I've
Oh,
got.
that'd be so good. So good. Did nobody know about the Earthworm Jim cartoon or something? It feels like just that. I'm not really sure I'm into the phrase hidden gem, but Earthworm Jim might be that in that category.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Heart, lungs, liver of a sheep, boiled in its own stomach. I hate haggis. I actually love haggis, but
Yeah. It's pretty tasty.
but that was like a running joke, along with Nutlog
Yeah.
and Dune references.
Well, I mean, it was a reference show. You gotta have references.
Yeah. Fear is the mind killer.
Yep.
Fear is the death that brings total oblivion. What else is happening in video game news?
Yeah.
Stadia is shutting down.
The M
For like
Google Stadia.
for real this time, I guess. I feel like they've announced parts of it shutting down like several times.
Well, I don't know if they... Right. I don't know if they announced bits of it shutting down, but they announced closures of the game studios, right?
Right.
So Google, built a whole... Or bought, I'm not quite sure which, probably both, a whole bunch of game studios to work on Stadia-specific stuff. And I think those got shuttered a year ago, starting to put the... the worry in, which didn't sound too dissimilar from what's going on at Amazon, right? Because Amazon did the same thing. They bought a whole bunch of studios, and it's not been going too well for Amazon.
Well, at least they weren't tied to a second product, though. They were
That's
just
true.
trying to make some games.
Yeah, that is true. They were just making games, not trying to put it on Stadia. Although Amazon Luna is a thing, right? And Amazon Luna is supposed to be their game streaming service. I've got absolutely no idea how that works. I know
They
nothing
just
about
bought
Luna.
Twitch, so
Yeah, but I mean game streaming to play, not game streaming to watch. Yeah, because obviously they have Twitch.
it's same technology basically.
I guess just with
Video
input.
streaming.
Yeah, well, Twitch has a delay. That's the problem,
Well,
right?
yeah, that's true.
Like YouTube Ultra Fast, that still has like a 5-second delay. Anywho, yeah, Stadia's going away. The good part of it is if you bought hardware and if you bought any games on the store, you're getting all that money back, which is real generous if you ask me. I think that's...
Well, for the hardware, yes. For the store games, maybe that was kind of required.
I guess, yeah, because you're losing access to something. But I don't know, but that's always the risk, isn't it, right? You're buying a license. Whenever you buy any of these things, you're
Well,
buying a license to a game.
Technically,
And
that's true on every platform, but
Yeah.
Google was like a little more direct about it, and also with their subscription fee and all that stuff. Like it had been said since pretty much the start of Steam that where Valve were like, if we ever shut Steam down, we'll just. Well, they didn't
We'll give
say
you
they'd
a method by
refunds,
which you
they
can-
were just going to turn off the DRM, basically.
Essentially, yeah, there is a method by which you can acquire the games you own and still run them. That's Steam. That's what Steam have always said.
But in this case, we actually get to see it in effect with Stadia. See what they are actually going to do when they shut down.
I mean, I assume in Steam's case that's actually pretty easy, right? Because they already have offline mode.
Well, yeah.
So it's they just have to make that the thing. So any game trying to use Steam works or whatever. Like,
the problem is if there's any integration in the games, that's going to fuck everything up. But that's just
technology
in general, really.
Like friends lists and things, yeah. Then it's on the game to do something about it if they choose to. Then they've got a limited window to do it, which means most games won't get updated. Yada yada yada. That is games, yes. Unfortunately. Hey, and if it's a good game, the community will sort it out, right? That's how that works.
Maybe, or maybe there'll be if in this theoretical world where Steam gets shut down, maybe it will get to the point where it's just like community Steam, like fake Steam servers.
Yeah, I mean that might be the solution. Yeah. Fake Steam. Yeah, you'd hope Steam's not going away. It's too big.
No.
Unlike
Stadia.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Stadia itself, technology-wise, by all accounts, was decent, assuming you had what is the requirement for any streaming service, a high-speed, high-stability broadband connection.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that it only... the problem with that whole concept, right, is that core tenet... You need a high-speed, high-stability broadband connection is not the reason to have streaming games, right? That's like, why would you do that at home? But when you can get a console that can actually run the damn game, and you'll get a better experience because no input lag, no video corruption, no possibility of it being super messed up.
Yeah.
Other than, hey, I don't need a box under the telly, I guess.
We need a different kind of box, but a much smaller one.
A much smaller box.
Yeah, but need to get a new box because,
Yeah, all that. So it's like, aside from that, like if you're like the use case where it's like, I'm out on business and I'm in a hotel and I want to play games on my phone. It's like, oh yeah, but the internet's not going to be very good, is it?
It's true.
Can't really do that. And it's like those use cases kind of fall apart. And it's like, that's the core problem of streaming services. And when that's the only thing you got, that's a bit of a problem. Also, that other things, obvious things, their business model sucked. Having to actually just pay full price for games outright on their service wasn't a great way to do things. Their pro subscription did kind of introduce a rolling selection of games, a little bit like Game Pass and PlayStation Now. That seemed like the preferable way to do things, but that was the lineup was not as strong as Game Pass and PlayStation Now, so that was a bit of a problem. Did have some exclusives, but like apparently those are games no one cared about, so which is probably just because they were Stadia exclusives. And also they're entering what is, if you think about it, a pretty crowded marketplace. Like, if you wanted to stream a game and you have an Xbox and you're already in the Xbox ecosystem, you're going to use Xbox game streaming or Project X Cloud. You're just going to, because if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you've already got it. Whether you use it or not, you've already got it.
But that happened after Stadia, though, right?
That did happen after Stadia, yeah. I mean, it came out of beta access, I suppose. Yeah, after Stadia. PlayStation Now was around before Stadia, but was pretty much limited to emulating PS3 at first, and then it became more of a multifaceted streaming service over time, and is now part of the upper echelons of PlayStation Plus. So those two alone, from a brand recognition perspective, you're gonna lose to Stadia. Like, if nothing else is on the table, you're going to lose because your Xbox, your PlayStation. And no offense to the average consumer, people are stupid, right? They're looking like, but this is from Xbox. Surely I want to do that. It's that simple. Finally, well, and also, I don't want to rule out NVIDIA Shield. NVIDIA Shield is still around, or NVIDIA game streaming, which started as a thing you would do on the NVIDIA Shield.
Yeah.
But they have the advantage where you pay for I think it's a relatively cheap subscription to get access to their streaming service onto your Android phone, I think. And it has access to everything in your Steam library. So it essentially logs in with Steam, and you can play your Steam games on NVIDIA streaming. So you're not buying anything from NVIDIA other than the ability to stream.
Right.
Which is a much better
That's
value
cool.
offer.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Didn't know you could do that.
I think that's how it works. Or one of the ways it can work, I should say. Yeah, that thing's kind of neat. And also, I don't think NVIDIA care all that much. It's like like in a weird way, like it's another service they run, but I guess it just makes enough money for them to, it's profitable, I guess, enough for them to just keep it running. But like they're not short of money at the moment, thanks to the graphics card crisis. So I think they can just ride whatever downturn they may have or may not have, whatever. And then Amazon Luna's turning up at some point, so whatever's going on with that. It's crowded. Oh, and cloud versions of Switch games. Don't count those out. Streaming is a thing on the Switch. So yeah, it's no surprises. Just no surprises. I think
I mean, Google loves shutting down services.
they do. It's their favourite thing to do.
R.I.P. Google Reader.
Sure.
Back in the day.
It's their favourite thing. It's just a Sunday night for them.
Yeah. Oh, what we're going to shut down today? Stadia, that'll do.
Anywho,
is that all the news we got then?
that is pretty much all the
main
news.
news.
Yeah, I mean, Donkey going into publishing, but good luck to you, mate.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone really.
He's
thinks,
a comedian.
Yeah, you're an internet celebrity trying to do a thing. I guess if he's got enough money, he can make it work because he can get the right people and the right advice. But
Maybe.
It's just a person running a business. It's not like it's only because you know who he is that this is a thing that we're talking about at all. If
true.
it was just a random indie developer publisher that just turned up one day.
So that's a little different though, because most people are developers first and then go into publishing, which means they've usually worked with a publisher, therefore they know a bit about publishing. Right? That's kind of how this usually works. Like someone coming in cold because they talk about video games and review video games, not really the same thing.
I don't think being a developer of video games would help you be a publisher that much. It would just like it's a completely different business, basically. Just because you know how the video games are made, that's got nothing to do with the publishing.
Kind of, but you're exposed to one. You're clearly exposed to that half. The half that touches you, though, right? The developer has to negotiate with the publisher to get money to make the game, and then work with them to produce the marketing and yada yada yada. I think that's more intertwined than you might think.
I don't know if it is. I don't. Well, I guess I don't know like exactly how much crossover there even is between publishers and developers. It seems like the publishers basically do the marketing and that's it. It's like the developers give them some JPEGs and that's more or less what they need.
I'm sure there's way more than that. It's a to and fro, right? I suppose it depends on the publisher. Like if the dev house can do their own marketing, then the dev house can do their own marketing, but not everyone can. So then that will be part of their deal with the publisher to get assistance with that, or the publisher will drive that because they think they know what's best in their market space.
But then it still doesn't require any dev experience. That's the thing. Like if all we're doing is
not strictly dev in the word of making the game. No, like in the core point of like building the actual product. No, not at all. You're right. But there will be people within that development studio that have to deal with the publisher, and they will learn stuff.
Yeah. Because it's a working relationship, right? You know,
100%,
you know a bit about the other side from being on.
I mean, if you've taken them out for lunch, you'll hear stories.
And what you're saying is that Donkey hasn't been on either side because he's just
No.
yeah.
No, I mean maybe he has some insiders. Who knows? But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good luck.
Yeah, good luck to you, mate.
and then Twitch.
What is it even called? Is it called like Dunk Pub?
It's called Big Mode. Big Mode.
Big Mode. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Twitch are giving people less money and everyone's pissed. Everyone's going to leave Twitch, apparently. They've decided that, well, basically, it's a weird situation. So, the revenue split on Twitch has always been 50-50. So, that includes...
Which isn't great!
No, which is bad to start with. But that includes, ads and subscriptions. So, basically, both the indirect and direct ways that Twitch streamers get money, basically. has always had that revenue split. And then in semi-secret, but not really because everyone knew about it, they had been giving like 70-30 splits to some of the bigger names, like specific contracts, basically.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But they're not doing that any longer. They're like, no, everyone's going back to 50-50, so fuck all these big streamer guys.
Well, even if they were on a contract.
Yeah, even when the contracts expire, then go on.
Okay, that's
Which is
kind of
next
acceptable.
year, essentially.
Yeah.
But like, not entirely though. There is like a secret, slight modification to that where, like, for the first 100,000 views or subs, it stays at 70-30 and then goes down to 50-50, which is basically irrelevant in this terms because the whole point was that the people who had massive numbers were the ones getting the 70-30.
I mean, 100,000 is still a reasonable number on Twitch.
Yes,
but still, yeah.
But like the big people who would have been getting the 70-30 anyway were the only people who were going to hit that, and so they're still going to get less.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, and then for some reason Twitch thinks this is good. Like the framing of their announcements were like, "Oh, we're going to build a stronger community by giving everyone less money." It's just like, what? How do you think this messaging is in any way positive?
Is this like Facebook saying, "Yeah, we're going to invest more money into VR by making it more expensive for you to buy, so we make more money to invest into VR."
Yeah, similar. And they're also getting rid of the weird like Amazon Prime Twitch subs that you get with Prime. It's like it's a weird system where it's basically Amazon pays for you to sub to a Twitch channel. But they're getting rid of that as well. So even less money will be coming in and you'll be getting less of that money.
I assume it comes out of the pool of money that just Prime memberships must build. So it's it's just a slight cost on top of the massive income that they already have. You could argue it's not Amazon paying for your because you're paying for Prime, right? It's still
yes. The money goes into Amazon's bank and then comes back out.
Yeah. It launders its way to the creators.
But yeah, so apparently, like, you know, a bunch of people are pissed, but who knows if any movement will actually happen. But like everyone's like, oh, but YouTube streaming is starting to get good, which I mean they've been saying that for like 3 years.
They have been saying that for a very long time. Yeah.
What is it lacking like compared to Twitch?
It's community interaction and like back-end not back-end features, because YouTube's back-end features are way better than Twitch's, but it's more like the management of the community stuff.
Oh, what, like mods and
mods and like subscriptions and all, and like extra features for the chat side of thing, I guess.
Right. Which people like me don't give a monkeys about.
Well, no.
But
that's what Twitch communities are built on.
How many kappas can I throw into the chat at once?
How are we going to get all these emotes onto YouTube?
Yeah, is the cap on kappas on YouTube a lot higher?
You don't get that emote, or do you? I don't know. I don't actually know how. Because in Twitch, there's the like global emotes, of which, you know, kappa and all that stuff. But then like channels can like make their own. And there's based on how big your channel is, you can upload a certain number. Yeah,
and you can lock those behind subs and or certain like loyalty programs for your users. Like, if you've been watching this and you've contributed to chat this many times, then you unlock these emotes for my channel.
Yeah,
they gamified the chat.
But I don't know how much of that is in YouTube already, because there are. Or even on YouTube, not even like live YouTube, just on YouTube, there are custom emotes. Like if you subscribe to a channel, you can get emotes from that.
What, even in comment sections?
Yeah, in just regular comments.
Huh, I didn't know that.
So that already kind of exists. But I don't know about all the other chat management stuff. But apparently if you look at the like, I guess, dashboard, you would call it, of YouTube and Twitch, the YouTube one has always been better just because it's the YouTube dashboard, which is pretty fucking ridiculous from the start. Had a lot of data, especially compared to the Twitch one, which is ass. And also the other advantage that YouTube has in general is just like the management of libraries of videos. Because obviously that was just YouTube's whole thing. Whereas in Twitch's case, when they're trying to manage a library of pre-recorded videos, library is a mess and it's really difficult to navigate.
Haven't Twitch constantly changed how that works?
Yes, sometimes they've gone back and forth on like whether they're going to allow you to keep them,
offline
or whether
anything,
or whether it's a time limited thing, or whether it's only for channels that are big enough or whatever.
Yeah, which is not going to give anyone confidence on using it.
No. But then even navigating through that system is terrible, and it's impossible to actually find videos you want to see. But yes, so maybe people will start moving to YouTube, but probably not.
I mean, what else? Do you reckon Microsoft is regretting closing Mixer?
Yes, that is another comment that I've seen a couple of people saying, which is like, oh no,
Mixer's time is now. Oh wait.
Yeah, we had this opportunity, except we came at it too early.
Classic Microsoft.
It is, isn't it?
So yeah, that's what's going on with Twitch, I guess.
A Twitch?
And then to finish off this, I guess, news section with not really a news thing, but a corrections thing, I guess, as a transition.
Play corrections music now.
I was slightly wrong about the Factorio, console versions being a thing. Apparently this Switch version was completely new. So
Oh, okay.
That would explain how it could run on the Switch, right?
Well, not just that, but I meant the actual development of the console interactions, like the controller, controller programming and all that stuff that I thought they'd done some work on before. I think they maybe had, but not to the purpose of actually making it. It was more like just
an experiment.
Yeah, a thing they tried at some point. But yes, it was just a recent blog post after the announced the Switch version. They made a blog post about it that went into the details of here's how we went through the process of making this work and how we had to re-optimize it and all this stuff.
So are those re-optimizations coming through, feeding back into the PC build, do you think?
Apparently maybe not, because the whole problem, one of the big problems with Switch is having to make it run on ARM, of course, because completely different optimizations. But apparently there might not be that much back portability, and also just they didn't necessarily try to super optimize it for Switch. It was we're going to optimize it enough that you can finish the game in a normal kind of playthrough, but PC is all about the gigantic mega bases, which are way further than normal playthroughs.
Right, I see.
Types of things. So they're probably not.
So it is streamlined in some way.
Well, I don't think the game is different at all.
It's maybe it's smaller.
I don't think
enough to So it's or maybe rebalanced in a way that you could.
No, I don't think
have to build these mega bases to succeed.
Well, you don't have to. That's the point. They've done enough optimization on the Switch to make it run well up to the point where you'd finish a game if you were playing it the normal way.
Okay.
And if you try and play a mega base, it'll probably run real bad.
That seems sensible.
But yeah, then they showed off how the controller system actually works, what they've got for having through the ridiculous number of options on a screen and all that kind of stuff. Because it's using the exact same UI as the PC version. They haven't actually, except for a couple of sort of radial wheels, a couple of extra things along that line. But other than that, it's the same windows, and you just have to move the cursor through them. So that it's all contextual tabbing and stuff, essentially. So it knows it knows what the most likely thing you want to interact with on that screen is based on what you were doing.
Right. Interesting.
So yeah, that's Factorio.
So all new controllers. Well, I mean, that stuff could probably port back.
Well,
that's not optimized.
It could, I guess.
If I don't know, you want to Steam Link it to your TV, I guess, and play with a controller.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I thought was there already, but apparently not.
Correction accepted. I mean, I could have rejected it and I'd be like, no, you were right the first time.
I believe in the false truth.
But now I believe in the true truth.
I believe in ancient aliens, of course.
So,
games.
Have you played any Factorio, Zach?
Yeah, I sure have.
Okay, what have you been playing? Factorio.
Well, the thing is, after the last 2 weeks where I've been saying I haven't played anything, I did the classic where I hit the point where I went from playing nothing to playing everything.
Okay.
So I've played a lot of shit this week for not exactly much time each, but
bumper week.
Yeah, and I mean it's all old stuff as well. But I played Factorio. I went back to I changed save file again. I changed off the stupid Nullius save file back to my space exploration solo save file. Went back in there, and didn't necessarily make super much progress, but it's taken a lot longer. But now in this space exploration save, I've reached the now I want to destroy my entire base and start over phase.
Right.
It takes a lot longer to get there in space exploration, but I've definitely reached that point where I'm like, this all needs to get dismantled and rebuilt into a much better form. Mainly because it's just like I've reached the point in space exploration where I've gone to like 2 other planets or moons, I guess, to get specific resources that I need to do specific research to get to the point where I'd want to disassemble my whole base, basically. I've got up far enough up the tech tree where it's like, now I can reasonably redesign everything. But like the point of redesigning everything would be to like automate rockets, essentially. Because the way I've been doing it at the moment is all manual, where it's just like, I have a rocket launch pad on this other planet that fills up with stuff, but it just sits there until I need some, and then I just call it in. Whereas now I can do it actually automated, where I can have sensors and whatnot to detect how much stuff there is at either end, and like automatically send the rockets when it gets low. But then I need to automate making the rockets on one of the planets, so I'm like, oh, I need to make a rocket part factory, basically, rather than the sort of temporary one that's built into my current base, which is way too low capacity if we're assuming that I'm going to be launching a shit ton of rockets all over the place. But then I have to move into like the next tier of science where I need like another new resource or 2. So I'm going to have to colonize another different planet. And I'm like, well, actually, I should build this entire new base on one of the new moons that I'm going to colonize, but actually not just because it's convenient to have to not immediately demolish my entire base, but also because I'll be there to get the resources, and also because slight savings on fuel because of Delta V. Like, if you're launching off a moon of the planet, you don't have to come out of the gravity well of the original planet, so you're saving fuel.
I see. Gotcha. Yeah.
And I can move all my science labs into the orbit of that moon instead of the orbit of the main planet. And
So you could effectively have a resource hub.
Yeah, essentially. But then I'm also thinking, like, do I even want to do it on one of the moons of the original planet, or do I want to move out to one of the further out planets more in the middle of the solar system? Because that will reduce the delta V in total in both directions.
Long term.
Yeah. But I don't think the fuel savings is actually that much. And also, technically, fuel is infinite because it's made of oil, basically. And oil is an infinite resource in Factorio. It just, like, oil wells just get slow as you use them up, but they always keep going at some level.
I mean, not a great lesson for current knowledge. The current state of the planet.
But yeah, so I'm like, is it worth that massive amount of effort to save a small amount of fuel? Maybe not. The rocket parts is the more important thing. But then it's just like, then I'm also thinking like the even longer term of like, if I wanted to just get more resources, because the thing is, the starting planet is huge. Because in space exploration, the planets are not infinite maps like it is in normal Factorio. But the starting planet is the largest one, so it has the most resources. So you don't have to worry about... Because if I was building a base on one of these tiny-ass moons that doesn't have much surface area, like I might be able to build the whole base there, but then I'd have to be shipping in all the resources. So then I'm using more rockets and fuel that way. And like if I'm mining resources on a different planet, is it better to smelt them into plates first rather than shipping the raw ore? Because like... plates are twice as space efficient as the raw ore, but then if I want to smelt them, I have to build an entire infrastructure rather than just shoving it into a rocket and launching it and then dealing with it somewhere else where I've already got infrastructure. So I don't know. It's a lot of mid-game, hell of a long time into a space exploration save stuff going on. But I've basically upgraded my original base with the logistics network now that I've unlocked it. So I can. Right. I've reached the point where I can just basically have robots make all the buildings, so I don't have to worry about that any longer. No more handcrafting. All the buildings just get made, and then I just walk by and the robots give them to me. So that's what I've mainly been doing in that base, in preparation. And then I can also link the logistics network to like a rocket. So if I'm on another planet, I can just like remotely tell the robots to load a rocket with buildings and then send them to me or whatever. So that'll make building on another planet much easier.
Send me the building.
I won't have to keep rocketing myself back and forth all the time.
Is it like a teleportation system? Like, you still have to rocket yourself with the buildings?
Yes,
or-
you just get in the rocket and then ride along onto the landing pad, and then some of it, you lose some stuff. It's a percentage chance of how much resource you're going to lose, and you can use technology to upgrade that gradually. And occasionally the rockets will crash if you get really unlucky.
What happens if you're on a crashed rocket?
The rocket crashes, but like the capsule comes off.
I see.
So the bit with you in is still fine. But yeah, it's just like it's got some weird like. The thing that I've always been confused about, because I've never got this far in a space exploration game, is once you get the spaceships, like they're built tile by tile, like you actually design them, and they're a self-contained unit that you can fly between planets. But as far as I understand it, which is based on not very much information, but like the spaceships, when you're on them, they have a travel time. Like you actually have to stand there and have the spaceship fly you around. Whereas the rockets are basically instant. Like it doesn't simulate travel time between the planets or anything. The rocket just goes up and then it comes down to this other planet. So that's always confused me, because it's like, so how are the spaceships better?
Right. Yeah.
Because if there's any travel time involved, that just makes them worse, doesn't it? I mean, I guess they're fully reusable, whereas the rockets are only a percentage reusable. So you're not expending as much resources after you've made the spaceship, I guess. And presumably the
Maybe
spaceship...
they use less fuel? Or-
Well, yeah, maybe. And also different fuel. And also maybe the spaceships are I think they're automatable, but I don't know... Yeah, I think they must be fully automatable. Like, you don't have to be piloting them.
Sure.
So maybe you can just use the spaceships as like basically a big flying cargo container that just ships stuff around.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, just build one massive one.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's like I've never got that far. But the rockets are basically instant, and then you've got the other alternative to transporting the stuff between planets is basically rail guns, where you can just fire the stuff between the planets, and that's also instant, but like much lower volume than the rockets. You can only do like small packets, and it's also like fairly energy intensive, obviously, because you're charging up a railgun. So, but then, like, yeah, I just don't understand where these spaceships are going to come in. Like, what is the actual reason for this? When you could just rocket yourself. I mean, I guess. Well, actually, no. I was about to say, I guess you don't have to build a landing pad if you're in a spaceship, but I don't actually know what the requirements are for taking off from a planet in a spaceship is. Because, like, a rocket, the first time you fire a rocket to a new planet, it basically just crashes, essentially. It's the same mechanism.
Right, because it's not got a pad.
Because it's not got a pad to land on. Most of the cargo survives, and obviously you survive. So you just pick it all up and then build your base out of that. But then once you have a landing pad, all the cargo goes into the landing pad, and a percentage of the rocket parts survive when they land on a pad.
Right.
So, like, that seems... Like, what would a spaceship do if you land on a planet? Do you need, like, extra fuel to take off, I guess? To get out of the gravity well, maybe? So would it be totally fine providing you had enough fuel and then you'd be good? I don't know.
Just take off again.
Yeah.
It's the question we ask ourselves every day. What does a spaceship do?
Yeah, what does a spaceship do? What do it do?
What happened, though?
They do that, though, don't they? So that's Factorio. Satisfactory had its update 6, which had a real goofy ass trailer, but the trailer was appropriately goofy because it was basically about the boombox.
Right.
Yeah.
Where they've been update 6 is weirdly the update 6 is, I think, called the exploration update, but it's really about guns.
The murdering update.
Well, it does have some like actual like quality of life stuff that you would consider more exploration. Like the way radar towers work has been completely changed, where they used to just reveal the map, which was kind of pointless, but now they reveal the map, but they also like show you what resources are in that area, which is more actually useful.
But Satisfactory is a fixed map.
Yes,
isn't it?
Satisfactory is a fixed map.
So assuming you learn that
So
area,
you don't need that. Once you know it, you just know where everything is.
Yeah.
And you have your scan device anyway that just tells you the nearest resources. So you don't necessarily need the radars at all. And then there's a few other changes to do with like enemy AI and I don't know, like the to-do list got an update to function better. But then so the trailer and the main chunk of this update is like different ammo types for all of the weapons basically. They've slightly extended the combat options, even though the enemy AI has been updated, but not fully yet. I think they're planning to do a bigger rework on the enemies in like the next patch maybe. So like all this new gun equipment and explosives and whatnot are still kind of pointless because it's like the combat was never the main part of Satisfactory and it's never going to be the main part of Satisfactory.
Yeah.
Unlike Factorio where it's kind of tower defensy because in Satisfactory, you know, once you kill the enemies, they're just gone. Providing you, well, if you're building in that area, then they're just gone. They don't respawn if
you're not
build.
there, then or your settlement isn't there, they'll come back.
Yeah, they will come back. They'll respawn if you're not in the vicinity or any of your stuff is in the vicinity, I guess. But yeah, you can clear them out over time as you expand. Although I did notice that when I tried to load up my old save in Update 6, all the enemies had respawned even inside my base, which was somewhat unfortunate. It was like, well, I guess use these new equipments for a while to try out all these new guns, except I don't have the stuff ready to manufacture any of this new stuff.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, and then the boombox was like this secret addition to this update, which is weird because, I mean, technically it's a piece of equipment. Like you actually equip it in one of your hand slots. So, and then you literally hold it on your shoulder, of course, in the classic style. But like it's technically a weapon, kind of like it has a weird turbo base button that you could just make a shockwave with.
Turbo base. That's good.
That would damage stuff in the vicinity and like do a bunch of knockback. But it also does act as a literal boombox. Like you can buy some tapes in the store and play them, and they have like 4 tracks each usually. So you've got like Goat Simulator music. That tape's free. That tape doesn't cost anything in the store. You've got the dumbass Goat Simulator music.
That's probably fair.
But then there's a bunch of other ones. And apparently I hear there's actually like secret tapes hidden in the world. Like I think there's actually a Deep Rock Galactic tape somewhere.
Sweet. Oh yeah, of course, because Coffee Stain
published Deep
Dirg,
Rock.
yeah.
But then the other thing you can also do with this boombox, which is even more ridiculous maybe, is you can just put it down. Like you can actually just place it and have it playing music in the world. Even though...
Is it like annoyingly like... Presumably it must be like in-world audio kind of thing.
It is like
projection.
A literal in-world. In fact, while you have it equipped, if you're holding it, it's playing out of one side of the speakers.
Oh no.
That's weird. But I suppose right.
But then if it's playing but in your inventory, like you're not currently holding it, but you're holding something else, then it just goes into regular stereo. It's like only while you're literally holding it is it simulating the fact that it's next to one of your ears. But if it's still playing it's in your hotbar somewhere, it just goes back to regular stereo.
That's mildly annoying.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Unless that would only be cool if they like modeled that. Like if when you're not holding it, it like straps to your back or something, so then it would be stereo.
Yeah. That'd be pretty funny. I think that's one of the things I'm like, I like it makes sense in some circumstances, but like in-world music can be quite irritating.
Well, yeah, I mean, this music was never meant to be like...
Because it never sounds as good as you want it to, right? That was the reason why you turn it off in Dirt 5.
Well, sure. But like, this music was never meant to be like, you know, the real music of Satisfactory. Satisfactory already has music, like atmospheric music, sort of. It's not really music. It is actually atmospheric. So it's like these weird little snippets that play occasionally or whatever. So this music was never meant to actually... And in fact, I think when I first tried this patch, it just doesn't like account for that. Like if you're playing music on the boombox, the regular music also still plays, which kind of messes with it.
Weird.
But I think in the patch shortly after when I tested it, they made it so you can individually change the volumes of the regular in-game music and the boombox. Because actually you can change the volumes of a lot of... That's one of the...
Surely if you're just in range of the boombox, the in-game audio should just fade out.
Yeah, well, maybe. But that's one of the things that Satisfactory does, like... Satisfactory has weirdly good, like, accessibility options. I mean, everyone knows about the arachnophobia mode,
Sure.
where the spiders just get covered up by JPEGs of cats.
Which is brilliant. Unless you've got a cat.
Phobia.
Yeah.
But then you're probably okay with spiders, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So there's that, but then there's also like, I mean, they have, I forget what the very specific scientific term is, but they have like a toggle so you can turn off the eating sound effects for people who don't like that.
Oh, right. So it's like a non-ASMR mode.
Yeah, like anti-ASMR. You can turn those off. And then like basically in the audio menu, you have like the normal levels, but then like a lot of them have drop downs where it's just lists like everything that's in that category. So like there's the overall level for the volume level of equipment, but then in that drop down list you can change the volume level of like any individual piece of equipment. So if you think one of these pieces of equipment has an unusually loud or annoying sound effect, you can just turn that one off.
Wow. That's kind of cool.
Well, and then that also applies to like factory buildings as well. So all the running noises of the factories and the belts, you can individually change the volumes of all of those.
Huh.
So yeah, it's quite ridiculous. But now you can individually change the volume of the boombox. So turn the music volume down, turn the boombox volume up.
You kind of want... The turbo bass shouldn't be a weapon. It should just be on.
Well, I was hoping the turbo bass would actually affect the music. I mean, it's just a like wow sound effect. It's not. It doesn't actually affect the music that's playing at the time, which is kind of a shame. And also, when they show it in the trailer, I thought that I didn't think the boombox was actually going to work as a boombox. I thought it was just going to be a comedy weapon because I thought the tapes were going to be ammo.
Right.
Because the way that they show it in the trailer, specifically at the start, he's holding a tape. But you can't actually do that because the tapes don't exist as a physical item.
Right,
They're just a thing you buy in the store.
Yeah.
There is an animation when you change the music of him putting the tape in the boombox.
Nice.
So that exists, but then,
Does it have a reload animation?
no.
Or no need to reload animation?
Oh, what, like an idle animation?
Yeah.
I don't know if it does.
Or like I was just thinking along the lines of Dirk, where it's like,
Right,
I don't need to reload, but if I push reload, something funny
The
happens.
sort of idle animations.
Yeah.
Satisfactory kind of has those, but only when you first equip a weapon. It has like a first equip animation.
I see.
So when you first pick up the boombox, it like looks at it.
Oh yeah, kind of like how
Fiddles with
when
the
you
buttons.
first find the like what they call the Promethean weapons in Halo, right?
Right,
And
they
then
assemble.
You see the
Yeah, Satisfactory has those. I don't think it has any idle animations. And there are, I don't know if the boombox has one, but there are a few like special animations. Like occasionally when you're using the like basically the taser, the taser has like a free hit combo animation usually, but occasionally you just get a random punch with the other hand instead of the taser,
Oh, okay.
which doesn't make much sense, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So that's Satisfactory. Other things that also updated that I also then played a bit of. I went to Astroneer,
Right.
go through all the Space
Go through all
Factory
of it, yeah.
games.
Uh-huh.
They did another update, although it's not. I mean, it's a smaller update, but turning back on like the Halloween stuff.
Oh right.
So there was an update related at the same time. But I haven't played Astroneer since they introduced like trains, which I don't understand. I still haven't seen that because I haven't unlocked it or whatever. But like, I don't understand how that's useful at all in Astroneer.
Right.
To actually have a train network. But then, yeah, so I went back in there and like the update was mainly just some small quality of life stuff where, again, basically every time that game patches its quality of life stuff, and it's like, yes, this game is gradually becoming way more playable than it was originally. It was a mess. And now it's like, oh, it's just nice. It's just like a real game. Although, as I said last time about it, like as soon as they introduced all those missions that give you like rewards or whatever, it just made it way too easy to get through the progression of that game.
You're a real boy now, Astroneer.
But yeah, like the quality of life updates are just things like research labs can pull research items from the platform they're on automatically, so it makes automating research much easier, particularly if you've collected a bunch of the big research items that are like, they're called medium size, but you'd have to fit them onto like a special platform essentially to store them. So now the research can actually pull those properly into itself. So you can set that up much easier. And like you can toggle the directionality of power cables. So if you want to have one part of your base on a separate power grid, you can actually set that up and flip the direction if you need to, or just like make it neutral so the power flows both ways. Not that that's ever much of a thing you need to do. You usually just have everything attached to one big grid and it doesn't matter. Unlike in some of these other games. So that was the small bit of Ashenir. Not really much going on there. What else exactly? I mean, there was Derg, obviously. Still waiting on they're teasing the next patch more.
Yeah.
They've been showing off the 4 new grenades, which are not much in terms of being real grenades.
No?
they're stretching the definition of a grenade.
What do they do?
Well, you've got... So what have you got? You've got the... Scouts one is probably closest to a grenade, but it's more like a homing boomerang, I guess. You just chuck it and it like paths through all the nearby enemies and electrocutes them, which is sort of like a grenade.
Yeah. And I guess it doesn't run out because it's a boomerang.
I don't know. It probably has ammo.
Yeah, could it get stuck or break or something?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Because you can recover when you throw the axes?
Only if they don't hit anything.
Oh, okay.
If they do actually hit something, the axes do just stick in them and then you can't get them back.
Right, I see. Even when you stick them in the floor and they walk into them?
Well, that doesn't do damage.
Oh, okay.
If they're in the floor, that means they missed. And then, so that's the scout one. The driller has this weird, like, it's just like a bunch of saw blades. Like, you chuck it on the floor and it just drives forwards and mows things down. Which I don't think that's going to be useful at all, but it's pretty ridiculous.
But it looks cool.
The engineer has a grenade that just makes a bunch of swarmer drones. Like, stolen enemy tech.
Huh, that's neat.
Which is probably the most useful, I guess.
Yeah, because it's damage and distraction.
Well, yeah, I don't know if the enemies will target them. It doesn't really show it that much in the video.
How did they die? Like,
they probably just time out, I guess. And then the gunner has the Deus Ex power, the Bulberi explosion.
Oh, right.
Right.
Only as a grenade. Chuck it on the floor, and then it just obliterates the facility with 1,000,000 shots.
So an actual grenade.
Yeah, well,
That's
kind
like
of.
but fragmentation.
Is it
Yeah,
like
it's like a frag grenade, except not quite.
Is it like AoE from where you're standing then, or do you literally still throw it?
No, you still throw it, and then it sticks to the floor, and then it like rotates and spews the bullets out. So I assume it's
like a landmine.
Yeah, like a landmine, kind of.
Yeah.
So I assume it's going to be like.
So is it proximity censored or?
No, I don't
go?
think so. I think it's probably just as soon as you hit it. But I assume it's going to have essentially infinite range, but then like inverse square damage.
Sure, of
like
course.
the bullets will just go until they hit something.
Yeah, so like stuff far away isn't actually going to get all that damage,
But
the
it will,
stuff
like-
close to it is going to get a lot of bullets.
But then you will potentially be able to hit like flying things with it by chucking one under them and then just having the bullets spew up.
They can actually get. I sort of, for some reason in my head I saw it as like a fully horizontal column.
No, it's like a half sphere. So it might be able to hit flying things relatively easy, especially because basically all the flying enemies have their weak spot on the bottom.
Yeah, that could be useful.
But I do wonder if it might be incredibly overpowered if you like put it directly under a big enemy, so all the bullets will hit it immediately.
Yeah, maybe.
That might be quite powerful. Like on a dreadnought, just stick one right underneath the weak spot at the back and just kill it instantly or something. Who knows what the balance will be?
It's hoping.
And they've also slightly continued teasing what the new maybe environment, maybe mission type is for the next update. The theory was that people had is that like maybe it's a surface mission, like on the surface of the asteroid, because one of the early teasers seems to show looking through like a helmet, maybe. But I don't know about that because I mean, what would there even be on the surface?
Because it would be less complex to make levels.
Well, yeah, but what would there even be on the surface? There's way more interesting environments underground. And then there's another theory that this environment might not actually be on the original asteroid at all. Like there might be a second asteroid or
These two.
or a different planet or something. But then this most recent teaser, they're like, and here's some new equipment that you're going to be using to deal with this new thing. But the thing is, it looks like one of the things they showed looks basically like the breach cutter.
Oh,
But like the breach cutter was something originally in the lore, right? Because it's one of the engineer's weapons, where it's sort of like the sludge pump on the driller, or like the wave cooker, which is like it's a gun that was made out of non-gun things, basically.
oh, I
Which
see.
is,
right, yeah,
why-
cobbled together.
Yeah, cobbled together. Like that's why the breach cutter is called the breach cutter, because it's not really a weapon as much as a cutting
Mining
device.
tool. Yeah.
But the thing they've shown
Which doesn't really work very well at mining.
well, no, that doesn't at all. But the thing they've shown does look sort of similar to a breach cutter. It has the same shape. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? And we go, maybe it is going to be used for mining. Maybe this is like the original breach cutter,
Yeah.
as before it got turned into a gun.
So it's a traversal thing.
Maybe. Or it could be a skin for the breach cutter. Like this could just be. They
Well, I
could
mean,
be showing
probably,
the skin
yeah.
of the gun as a hint to what the environment that we're going to be going to is.
Or it's just a season 3 skin.
Yeah, well, I mean, you would expect the season skin to be related to the thing if they are going that way. Like the robot skins in season 2, I guess. Or was that 1? I forget which way round.
Yeah, it must be 2. Because 1 was kind of the weird tribal looking things.
Oh, yeah. Well,
If I remember that right.
yeah,
So-
they were still robot related, but not as directly.
Yeah,
Like less neon.
right. I haven't actually used any of these skins I've unlocked. I haven't unlocked many, but like I didn't realize they were neon. They just kind of look a bit orange in the
Oh, no,
panel.
no, those ones are different though. I meant the DLC purchase skins that are related to the season.
Right. Gotcha.
Those were specifically robot design ones.
Gotcha. Yes.
So yes, the next season of Derg is rapidly approaching. I forget what they said the date on that was.
Yeah, don't know.
Was it November? Maybe they're teasing this a bit early.
It's only a month away now.
Yeah, but if they're teasing stuff like this where it looks like, final product, especially for the grenades, which appear to function.
Yes, but most stuff looks like final product for a long time before it's actually ready to go.
Well, sure, but then what I mean is, like, if they're going to be still working on the actual, like, mission/environment stuff for a lot longer, maybe you should have teased the grenades as soon as this.
Got to hook you somehow.
And then I played some Rocket League. And
I've been having such a lemon session on Rocket League. It's been annoying.
I finally managed to recover some non-lemon out of where I am.
God, it's because it's partly because the weekly challenges so far. All of the weekly challenges for Rocket League season, whatever this season is, 8, I guess they're calling it, the street season.
Yeah.
They just require you to play casual, and not ranked matches. So you get people dicking around or leaving matches or just
Right, screwing things up.
yeah, or just not being right, because I guess casual is the place where some players go to learn and try and legitimately try new techniques that they're trying to pick up and things like that. Be a bit experimental with their game, which means nobody fucking defends. So it's left to me, and I'm not great in defense. I'm not great anywhere. I'm a bad Rocket League player. I am the lemon, but but yeah, don't leave me to it, guys. Contribute.
Well, I mean, that's how I feel like about. That's how I feel like about Rocket League, in ranked or not unranked. Like no one is any good at defending, and that's why I'm always annoyed by it. Every time I'm upfield and both my teammates are back,
I'm with you.
and they cut. Well, no, they're both. If I've just made an attack but the ball's gone past me and both my teammates are back and they're in the corner dealing with ball, and yet neither of them can manage to make a single defensive play or clearance.
Right,
And then, like, the number of times where I'll drive the entire length of the field while my teammates are dicking around the corner, and then I'll be the one to make the save. It's like, why does no one know how to defend?
Yeah, I've been getting that feeling a lot of late. And it's like, I'm sure my casual rank can't be great, the internal secret casual rank. I'm sure that can't be great, but God, getting the 5 casual wins needed, that doesn't sound like a lot, right?
Yeah.
No.
But it took me fucking hours.
Lucky for me, I don't have to worry about that because I play much more Rocket League, so I can get away with skipping those
Yeah,
extra
that's
bits of
true.
XP.
That is true. I need those. I need those challenges. I think I've still got a couple of this weeks to go, but like, because I didn't MVP any of that.
I've already finished the 100 assists
Oh,
part
man.
1 of the season.
Oh man, that is my kryptonite, assists.
I think I probably make way more assists on average than most people, probably. Mainly because I don't score that much, I guess. No, I don't. I guess I intentionally play a lot more passes, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to do that a lot more these days. I'm getting more into the sort of passing game rather than the just charging in game. But but then every time there's a lovely opportunity and there's nobody in the goal mouth and the ball is just hanging there, I'm still like trapped in like the trajectory of me making the pass, so I can't go for it.
Yep.
And then nobody else is there to actually finish it off, and you're like, come on, guys! It's like in duos, like that's probably a common occurrence, right? Because we're like, oh, right, yeah.
Well, with us especially,
we're playing a little bit.
Play.
We play a little bit more safe, right? And yeah, but in trios, someone can do that.
That is the other problem that I always have. With just like, that's part of the watching your two teammates fail at defense is why are two of them back there? Because they're not laid out correctly. They're bunched up. It's always me by myself and then my two teammates, either at either end of the field. They're like, I'll be making a pass up front and both my teammates are at the other end of the field because they're getting boost.
Or the worst thing for me is like playing with a teammate who, okay, admittedly this might just be accidental because me and his playstyle might be, or their playstyle might be very similar.
Right.
So you end up just next to each other the entire goddamn game, or like I'll be going for something and then he'll come from behind me and like steal it. I'm like, why would you do that? I'm right here.
Yeah.
And or just following me around the entire match, and it's just that is so annoying.
I mean, I suppose that is the one advantage of me being by myself and my two teammates being at the other end of the field.
Yeah,
like they can't interfere with what I'm doing.
Yeah, 100%.
But then they don't finish what I'm doing either.
No, that is the most frustrating thing when you've got someone who's just following you the entire game, and then just stealing your shots, or worst of all, like screwing up your shot. Like you get the perfect moment, you dive in for it, and then he mushes you out of the way, and you're like, why? I mean, sometimes I can understand because, the FOV, right? You're not going to see everything that's going on.
Well,
but
I mean, arguably, I think the default, well, I say default, the not default that the community tells you to play on is like a 110 or something.
And I think mine's
which I can't
high.
manage at all.
Yeah, I think mine's a bit higher than how the game starts out, but not a huge amount. But yeah, sometimes they just cut you up.
Yes, I like.
Or hit you from behind into the. That's the worst.
Yes,
Trying to go for that pull shot.
I did well, not trying though. Yeah, I don't like. If people could actually learn to defend, it would help a lot.
Yeah, I feel like I'm when two cars are together, it feels like I'm the only one that seems to care about that scenario, and then go, I'm going to be the one that peels.
Yes. I mean, it's super annoying when they do legitimately come from behind. I mean, the thing that happens with me a lot is if I'm already in goal, like I've already seen that the enemy are making an attack, and because I'm always at the back, I'm already in goal. And my teammates are coming back from upfield, and then they just drive past me to attack the ball. It's like, stop at the back post. Let me do something. I mean, there is like some reason to do that. Like you're maintaining momentum.
You have momentum. You're hitting it harder. Therefore, in theory, you're clearing it.
But like
better
if the ball is
quite unquote
moving real slow, or there's not really any immediate threat, or like we've got time to arrange ourselves.
Yeah. There's no need for it.
Blow straight past.
There's no need for that.
But then, how often do people even come in at the back post? That is, again, another failure of people on defence. It's just like, if you go to the back post, you'd be able to see where your teammates are and see what the threat is, and like have time to
make a judgment.
But just dive in and mash it against the wall, and then it doesn't go anywhere, and then it falls onto the enemy.
Or it robs centres.
Yeah.
Like, I've centred it in front of my own goal. That was a mistake.
Is that the Rob Centre move?
Yeah.
That's an old school Rocket League reference for us.
That is, yeah. When like the early days, it's like, oh, it's a Rob Centre. Like, sorry.
and I have now seen that spray can goal explosion, and it doesn't spray anything.
Oh, really?
Because I said
I've not seen anyone use it. Like,
well, yeah. I mean, maybe that's why. But like as I said when I was looking at it at the preview, and you can't really see it because it's so high up in the preview window.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's got to be spraying something up there, but it's not. It's just casually waving around in midair.
I do like how they've made it so like I've got just the spray can topper,
Right.
Like, but not the whole can, just the top part.
Right,
And so
yeah.
when you're boosting, it actually sprays.
Sprays.
So that's kind of cool.
They should have made it face backwards.
They should have made it face back.
Make it an added boost.
Or perhaps that should be another one. They could have the front facing one. They could have the rear facing one. Do you have a choice?
Yeah, maybe. And okay, last for the transitional segment, I guess. I took the cartridge for Hyrule Warriors home and played it myself.
I'm
Lol.
dying to know how this went. Like,
Well,
because we accidentally played a solo round last time we played
Yeah.
it because I forgot to put it in 2-player mode, and I was like, you know what? For once, let's just see this through.
yeah.
That game looks way better in single player. Like obviously,
Well, I mean, it runs
yeah,
better.
obviously, yeah, it runs way more stable. And there are certain details you don't get in 2-player, like where it said like health advocate over one of the new vicious enemies.
I mean, that's not in the base game. That is only the DLC.
That's the DLC, but you do that whole bit of UI isn't present in
No.
2-player mode.
Like the full screen health bar, I guess.
Yeah,
But that
advocate.
But that also started like as I was playing it, I was like, I learned some small things that I never noticed.
Okay.
When I was playing. Well, I guess. Well, one thing I noticed, which probably isn't exclusive to single player, and is probably just from playing it on Rob's TV rather than like sitting at my computer, is that I didn't know that there is a warning sound effect when an enemy's about to shoot a projectile at you. Like, I knew there's a visual.
what?
I knew there's a visual, like it has that little white flash when
Yeah.
an enemy's about to shoot a projectile, but there's also actually an audio cue to that as well.
Is
It's
there?
quite quiet.
Wow.
But,
Okay.
but like, I've never noticed that when we're playing on the TV.
I mean, that game's proper loud when
Yes.
like things are popping off. I guess we're at the point where it's never a dull moment, right?
Yeah.
And I guess there's two of you.
Two of us,
you're
yeah.
just
Getting a lot of noise.
moves are just happening.
But yes, there is an audio cue attached to that. I noticed that.
Huh. I guess headphone advantage, I guess.
Yeah. And then I guess related to that well, I guess it's not actually new at all. It's just something it's much easier to do in single player, but like when you're all locked onto an enemy and it's showing that full health bar, obviously you can just shift targets by like right sticking it. But like it's much easier to know that's happening in single player because you have that full health bar. Like you can just see the name of the enemy you're targeting. So if you're in like a finisher sequence, you can already be changing your target. So when you drop out of the sequence, it's already looking at the new enemy.
Okay, gotcha. That is nice. Yeah.
So that's kind of helpful.
Yeah.
And then I was also doing some experiments into like very specific differences between single player and multiplayer. Like if you have because most of the missions have more than one character. But in multiplayer, obviously, you're playing two of them rather than just having a support character that you can switch to.
Sure.
But I was experimenting with like if the second character has a weapon that has certain runes equipped, seals equipped on it, are those effective? Which they're not, basically. Only characters that you're currently playing do the seals have any effect.
Oh, I see.
Because I was trying to be like,
So
if I have
if-
my second character have a sword that has like healing items drop rate, will that affect the drop rate even though I never use them? But it doesn't. You actually have to physically be playing as them,
Yeah, just because they're nearby doesn't mean you gain the.
just because they're in the mission.
Yeah.
Although, weirdly, conversely to that, if you have a secondary character in a mission, but you never switch them, they do still get the mission completion XP at the end.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that is... It's hard to tell because the UI doesn't really explain it, but that XP boost at the end is separate to, like, kills. Kills happen... the XP for that happens continuously,
Yeah.
because obviously
Yeah.
you can level up during a mission. Whereas that bit at the end is specific.
It's just the extra, yeah, you did it bonus.
So you get that even if you never switch to that character.
Huh.
So you can kind of use that to level up characters that are behind.
That you don't care about.
Provided you don't need them in the mission. Which obviously in single player you might do, because you kind of need to swap around a bit more. to do things in a timely fashion.
Well, yeah. Well, if you're doing a time limited one in solo, presumably those are depending unless they change the rules for those a little bit. Then those are probably a bit trickier unless you're sending people to be where they need to be.
Yeah, I mean, I have been doing that more, and I don't think anything is. It's hard to say because I'm way back in the early game and I don't even remember half this stuff. But like, I don't think anything has changed. Although one thing that has changed intentionally is that I'm only playing it on hard because I realised that like playing it on very hard was just dumb in single player.
Is it actually like legitimately just like pushes it over the edge?
Well, the trouble is that like the ways that game can increase the difficulty, you have enemies do more damage, and that's just like that's a skill problem where it's just like you just get better at avoiding the damage. So that's a legitimate way of the game being harder. But then the other way is just either enemies have more health or you do less damage, which functionally the same thing, but I don't know which one it actually is.
No.
But that's no fun, and there's nothing to do about that except grind. So I'm just like, there's no reason for me to play it on very hard and have, because I'm using, like, the point where I switched, I was on a mission where I was using a character that was like 7 levels over leveled compared to the level that the mission said it was.
Right.
And I had a fully maxed out weapon, a million early game fully maxed out weapon.
Sure,
So it's just like lower damage overall. But I was getting nowhere near finishing that mission.
Right.
With all that extra like theoretical damage output. And I was just like, this is dumb. So I'm just going to switch back to hard.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we didn't really have that problem. Maybe they haven't scaled. Maybe like
it's
two
just
player.
like we have double the DPS essentially. in
Yeah,
two
because
player.
we're in 2-player, and so we've never felt that in very hard mode. But like, yeah, you put it in solo, and that's actually an issue.
So yeah, I dropped it back down.
So maybe
to hard.
maybe that makes more sense for like actually going back and doing a mission, right? So play through on hard, and then
come back when you're super over leveled.
yeah, and come back and do it in very hard, and then maybe apocalyptic.
Yeah. But yeah, that was. I just at that point I was just like, oh, I'll just put it on hard, which kind of sucks because like. I don't mind the difficulty of the damage output of like you taking damage because like that's fine. I can be better at the game and overcome that. But
Sure.
the like low damage output from your end, that's just impossible to overcome with skill.
with time challenges. Yeah, it's the timed stuff that presumably is just going to really suffer there. Everything else will be fine. The regular missions will be fine, I'm sure. Just
yes, although.
You know,
you don't always know if there is going to be a time limit. That's the trouble. I mean, a lot when you see a mission that says time limited, it's like okay, but a lot of them have like a bit that is time limited. But yeah, I've been. Also, the other advantage of having my demo save is because that was why I had a super over-leveled character, obviously, because Link just had a bunch of extra levels. So it's been making like keeping up with the leveling curve easier because it's cheaper to upgrade everyone else in the training camp because the highest level of him is so far above, it makes the lower levels cheaper.
Oh,
because it's proportional to how far behind they are.
Right. So actually, our current plan of like ditching trying to level everyone is probably beneficial if we did want to just boost some of our lower level guys.
To a point, yeah.
Yeah, we can bring them up a little.
But yeah, it's because, and also I've been trying to primarily have basically everyone with an XP bonus and drop rate weapon because I know the future end of this game. I'm like, I'm going to need all this shit, so I might as well get the drop rates in early.
Right.
So all this time where I'm playing the early game, I'll be getting the maximum amount of stuff.
I want the good stuff so I can get more XP and then build even stronger weapons for my stronger starting weapons.
And obviously, I'm looking for improved drop rate weapons, but I've only found one so far. Even though that is the most nebulous bonus ever, which like doesn't even do anything. Because the few times when I've been using that weapon, it's like, do these weapons that have dropped look any better? Not really.
No, most of the time not. I mean, it depends if it's a percentage chance again, but that's not super exposed, right? Like. Those ones that just say improve quality of dropped weapons.
There's no percentages or anything. Even if it had a percentage, it wouldn't really help. Improve what percentage? What?
Like, or you'll get an improved one 10% of the time. But
And
I
I'm
suppose
also like,
it's on top of the RNG of what one you got in the first place.
And I'm also like, what does improved quality of found weapons even mean? Does that include ones you get in chests, or is it only ones that drop off enemies, or do those not count, or is it only the ones in chests?
Yeah, good point.
It's the most useless bonus description ever.
And then is it the chests that come out of enemies as well, or just the ones that are fixed on the levels?
And what about the ones that respawn, like the ones on the skull chests?
Oh, the skull towers, yeah.
That respawn. Can those even drop weapons like that? Do you
think they
ever
can.
realise what comes out of a chest?
I mean,
because
I've
it's just a light bit of UI that appears for a second and then goes away.
Yeah, I don't know if we're watching it that closely. I think they can.
But yeah, so I've been messing with everyone's weapons and trying to get everything, looking for those fuses, of course.
Mm.
And as usual, some people just have them. And I've also determined that it definitely doesn't matter what weapon you have equipped on Impa, she just generates special so fast.
Right, that's just her
even
character
without
trait.
the bonuses that we have on our weapon.
Right, there's just a general character trait, just
Yep.
fast specials.
She's still ridiculously overpowered, it turns out.
You could argue that every character in that game is ridiculously overpowered in the world of Zelda.
Well, yeah, obviously. Everything about this game is ridiculous. And that's that. I think that covers all of the ridiculous number of different games I've played. Probably not. I'm probably actually still forgetting one, but
Yeah.
good enough.
Serendipitously, I've not been playing a whole bunch this week.
Well,
Not a bunch of a whole butt of stuff. A whole
lot of stuff.
whole butt of stuff different. Like, okay, it's all my usual hitters. I haven't really played much new. So, yeah, I finished the main game of Hollow Knight. As in, I beat the last boss.
Right.
I beat the Hollow Knight. Spoilers.
Not that big a spoiler.
No, I guess not. Given that he's not mentioned really at any
Right.
point. And there's a lot to like about Hollow Knight, but I think my original things stand a little bit true. I think it is too big for its own good. And I really wish it did a better job of exposing where things you could do next are.
Right, because there's a lot of time tracking around trying to
Yeah,
find
and
the next bit.
then you're just so many times where I'm just I really don't know what to do next, and then eventually you stumble on it, and you're just oh, okay, cool, I can do that now. You'll find an item that effectively acts as a key, but you can't remember, or you've never seen what that key could open, and then you're just well, where do I go? Where the hell do I use this? Because the map doesn't help you with any of that. The map doesn't. The map will highlight some things like vendors and stuff like that, and you get given little tokens you can put on the map yourself. But then it's up to you to remember what those damn tokens mean and
yeah.
what you need where and stuff like that. And it just, yeah. And some of the areas in that game are they are 100% optional and thus 100% hidden. You can get some areas, you get a little hint that it exists. And then you'll go in and be well, clearly this is only a small part of this section because I can see other bits off the edge of the screen.
Right, yeah.
Or whatever. How on earth do I get in here? And then you spend hours trying to find out how to get into that area, missing the one spot where you can because it's a secret. And it's but it's it's a chunky area, and then usually those chunky areas have a boss in them. It's there's so many optional bosses in this thing. It's crazy. Yeah, I think I know it's kind of its vibe. Its whole vibe is you don't really know what's going on per se. It doesn't really. It has a narrative for sure, but it's but it's not really about the story of what
you're doing
what
there.
happens to you during the game. If
Yeah.
that makes sense, there is a background story that you don't really know about.
that you're piecing together.
Kinda, super loosely. It's not really, you're just in a scenario and doing a thing, and other characters sort of talk about, oh, you're going to do this, aren't you? But they don't tell you what this is.
Yeah.
And it's and that's kind of that game's whole vibe. So I kind of get why they went all in and said, well, it's the vagaries are the game, therefore you're not going to get a map like Super Metroid that shows you where you missed stuff.
Right, I guess.
And it's actually, I find that really annoying. I would quite like to know where. I mean, Castlevania does that as well. And when I played, what do you call it? Bloodstained. It doesn't always tell you where you've missed stuff either. But I think Bloodstained did a slightly better job of being a more condensed map, whilst making it slightly easier for you to remember where you might have missed things.
Right.
And that game got I'm not going to sugarcoat this. That game got bloody hard in the end. I know I started off my playthrough saying, "Oh, what's the big deal? It's not that hard." Like, it's like I'm finding it quite a cakewalk. Oh no! Towards the end, that game was hard.
Serious.
Like, yeah.
It's like Cuphead hard by the end.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's real tricky. And then, but you are like, when you eventually do, every now and then you find something useful, and it's like, okay, well, I'm now a little bit more powerful. But every now and then you find a secret area that leads to something completely useless to you.
Yeah.
Like I found a whole nice secret with like a door I could go in, and it's like, oh, and like you find a door and it goes to a separate area. You're like, oh, okay, this is probably meaningful. Only to get to the bottom of it, it's just a whole bunch of cash, and it's like, I've got too much cash. I don't need cash.
Now the
What
cash.
a waste of time this was. It's too big, but it's good. And too hard. I might be getting to the point now where I just don't know. I know of things I haven't done, but I have absolutely no idea how to do them.
Right.
And I know of things that I haven't done, and I know how to do them, but I can't do them because they're insane.
Too hard, right? I mean, you finished the game. I mean,
Yeah, I got only 220 achievement points for it. Like, screw you, game. It's super harsh on the achievements.
right. Oh well.
It locks 100 achievement points away, I think, for doing a steel run, as they call it, a steel soul run, which means don't die.
Wow, hardcore.
One of them is for doing it without dying, like just get to Hollow Knight and beat him. The other one is for 100%ing the game and beating Hollow Knight. And it's like...
That's if you want to destroy your controller. Like it's
it's absurd. I want to know if the completionist has had a go at that. Because,
I'm sure.
Because he's done like Ori and things like that in like Iron Mode.
One-shot modes.
Yeah. And that's not a short. I mean, it's shorter than this. This is like my play clock is like at 32 hours now, and I'm at like 89% completion. You eventually, like right at the end, you unlock the ability to see the game completion, and it can apparently go to 112% because there's an achievement for getting to 112, and it's like, what's that 12? So I'm quite a way off. And I have absolutely no idea how to get to those things. Ugh. What do I do? Yeah. Do I bash my head against it, or do I just start looking stuff up? Like, which I don't really like to do, if I can help it. But maybe I'm at that point where if I really do want to carry on with this thing, I just got to start looking stuff up and be like, how do I do this? There's been one thing that I looked up, and that was after I defeated the Hollow Knight, and that was because I didn't realize one of the things I had an effect that I didn't realize it did. And so it was just like, because the game text didn't really tell me that I could do that with this thing. And it's like, oh, okay, there's a few more areas I can go to, but I've done those now. And one of those did have a really bloody tricky boss behind it. So yeah, anywho. Yeah, and you might be wise, just straight up top tip, if you come across the Colosseum of Fools, just don't try the third one unless you're really ready. God, it's an epically long fight, and I've never been able to get all the way through it because it's insanely long and quite tricky. Yeah, and just when I thought I was on a really good one, like it went for like, I thought it's like, oh, I must be near the end of this. It went on for at least the same amount of length. So it was twice as long as I thought it was. God. And I still don't know if I'm anywhere near the end of it by the point I died.
Blimey.
I got to a point where there was no floor, so I couldn't heal. And like, that's my core strategy, is just like find every opportunity to heal at all times.
Get those Estus flasks in.
Yeah. I have a few more abilities since I last attempted it, but like maybe. But good God, it's long. Yeah. Anyway, Hollow Knight. It is good. It is good. I'd like to think that they perhaps have learned. Oh, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things. It's one of those games that is good and is so well loved that maybe they won't make too many changes for Silk Song when that does eventually come out. But I kind of want it to be a more condensed, but more, or even if it's as long as this, just be a little more helpful. Just a little. I want to have some knowledge of where I'm, or just update the map with things I haven't done. You know, that would be nice. Like, oh hey, there's you saw this thing and you haven't dealt with that yet. That would be fine. If it's not like even a secret, like secret walls I can destroy, like obviously keep those secret, whatever. But like if I've seen a thing, like just mark it. Like,
well, that's what the map markers
that's
are
what
for,
the markers
right?
are for. Yeah, but I don't want to do that myself. Like, and then like have a limited number of. They have a limited number of them,
Well,
and you have
that's
to
more fun.
and you have to buy them, and there's only 4 colors for them, and it's just highlight them on the map. You saw a thing here. Go have a look at this thing. Just little reminders. Maybe have more fast travel points. Just saying. Oh, it does that thing at times where it's like you might find a really tricky boss, but it might actually be just that little bit too far from a save point.
Yeah.
So every time you die, you've got to traverse to the boss. I hate that. I just want to do the boss again. Don't make me go there again. Even if I can just get there without, if even I can get from like the spawn point to the boss without taking damage, that has become wasted time to me. Just let me do the boss. It's probably why I'm not going to like. why I won't play Dark Souls and stuff like that, because they do that, right?
They do, yeah. Running all the way back to the boss.
Just want to play the boss. Actually, they might have changed that for. I think they changed that for Elden Ring. Like, there's always a save point in front of bosses.
World, right? Yeah.
Anywho, Hollow Knight. Obviously, I'm still playing a smeg ton of Splatoon. Splatfest happened last weekend, the first proper Splatfest, and I'm going to colour it with my brush of disappointment.
Colour me.
Colour it brown.
Yeah. Colour it brown. Yeah, the one ink colour that doesn't exist, I suppose.
Yeah, there's
no brown.
Brown covering everything in poop.
There is
done
white and there is yellow.
I think I might have done that for a Splatfest. Had like a white and brown combo,
Yeah, maybe.
like with one of the previous games. I found Splatfest a bit disappointing because it's Splatfest, but ultimately, like for me, that just meant that the ranked modes are turned off and you're doing nothing but turf war, which is sort of normal, except like unlike Splatoon 2, there's no such thing as like the bonus weird stage that Splatoon 2 would have. Like there'd be like your 2 normal maps that that everybody knows, but one of the members of Off the Hook will have made a map, supposedly, and it will be something a bit different with some unique mechanic sometimes, but just something a bit weird, something a little bit different, and then throw that into the mix as one of the options that could come up over the fest. That's not there. You don't get that. Presumably because they want you to do the new thing, the tricolour battle, which obviously only happens during the second half of the Splatfest. But then I ran into the problem where I wanted to do that. I wanted to do the tricolour fights. I think they're interesting because they add just enough spice to make it different from regular turf war, just a little bit. So I wanted to do more of that. But the way you do that in this is that when you're in the lobby, you can pick to go into a turf war match, or you can pick there's this playlist option to be like, I want to go into tricolour battles. But it seems like it can't deal with that, or maybe there weren't enough players, or I don't know what, because it would even if I picked that option, it would just put me into turf war games.
Oh, okay.
And it admittedly it did that during the pre-fest or whatever you call it, the preview Splatfest as well, but that would happen a lot less frequently than it did here, because over the course of I put many hours in playing it on that second day. And I got into exactly 2 tricolour battles. 2. And it's like, so your new thing for Splatfests, I can't do. And the interesting part from Splatoon 2 is also gone. So, this is a step backwards, isn't it?
It's a shame.
And I'm still getting that stuff where if I'm on an absolute blinder of a game, those are the ones that seem to fail. If I'm doing really well, you'll then get a communication error has occurred, and it's like, oh, for the love of,
damn it!
That said, clearly, I think I found my weapon set that I like to use.
Oh yeah,
like I like using that Nez Zapper because the weapons are all slightly different from how they felt in Splatoon 2. They have all been tweaked.
Did you like the Zapper before in Splatoon 2?
I think I liked it for a bit in the first Splatoon game, but then sort of moved away from it. And I've gone back to it now as my go-to. I'm doing way better since I've started using that. Moved away from the dualies, and I've basically been experimenting. And this is the one where I seem to have been had the most success.
Yeah.
So I might stick with it for a little while, and then get back to experimenting. 'Cause that's what you do. That's what you do in Splatoon. And obviously Salmon Run's there to just put you into every weapon that you hate. That's what Salmon Run's for.
Yep.
Which I'm still having the same problems with Salmon Run that I had originally. Not enough maps. And also, I'm at the difficulty level now where I've boosted it up where, okay, it can be pretty challenging to get through the normal waves of Salmon Run where I'm at. When it then spawns the King Salmon, it's next to impossible. Like the time limit is super tight, and there is so much stuff spawning on the level. Almost every time I see that thing, it's a high tide variant, which makes it even more impossible to achieve because the map is just crowded and there's stuff everywhere and everyone's dead all the time. I don't think that thing is very well balanced. Like, so it's impossible for me. It's impossible for me to earn the scales, which are the like King Salmon currency that you then need to unlock other colors of slop suit or some stickers or some other locker stuff. Pointless stuff, but stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't get those because the King Salmon bit is too tough. So I think they need to rework it a little bit, or figure out ways of making that slightly more doable, or make it not so much of a jump in difficulty when you're when it comes up.
Makes sense.
The only time I've ever beaten it was like when I first started playing the game, and the first time I saw the damn thing, and that was when our team got it. But that was on like when your pay grade is like super low. Thus the difficulty of the challenge is low. So I think you need to change that. And to be honest, in the last 2 weeks, I don't think I've gone back to the campaign. Like, I've left it alone and not finished it. It's not where the draw is for me.
No, it's not primarily a single player game. But
Don't get me wrong. But this is the first time that's happened, right? I played through Splatoon 1's almost immediately. I think I did the same thing with 2. I bought the single player expansion for Splatoon 2, the Octo expansion. Loved it. I'm not getting the same ingenuity vibe. I think it's just like there's just too much. Again, the Splatoon 3's problem all over, right? It's not bad. I can't really say it's any worse, but I'm just getting too much of that. This is the same vibe. Like I'm doing this again, but just it's like another DLC. Like again, like not enough new.
Fair enough.
Hell, it's still. I want to be playing it right now. Like it's like that's like I just want to be doing that. But Kippers did give me a minor distraction last weekend because he said over the chat we saw him playing something called Shatterline, which looked like a free to play shooter, and then he piped up on chat, and I'm like, oh no, he's going to try and drag us into this free to play shooter. Like, no, it's like I don't need another shooter in my life. I've got Splatoon and we've got Dirk. That's fine. Drop it there.
Well, speaking of that, just before you get onto the thing you're actually about to talk about, he even messaged me about another different game.
A different one. Okay.
Which appears to be. He says it's ex-DICE developers making. From what we can interpret from this trailer, it looks like it's probably going to be an Overwatch-esque kind of team-based game, except the hook is like basically destructible environments.
Oh.
Like all the buildings and shit are destructible.
So, Team Red Faction.
Yeah, basically Red Faction multiplayer, but like with teams.
I mean, that could be rad.
It could be, but then it's just like, I don't know.
Can it run on your PC?
Obviously
is obviously the big question.
But the thing is, like, in order for that to work, the destruction has to be server-side, right? And we all know how well that went with Crackdown 3.
All right.
Sure.
And also, even though it's like the stupidest thing to say, like, ex-DICE devs doesn't fill you with confidence any longer.
It depends from what era of DICE.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, if it's current Battlefield.
I mean, on the plus side, it's Unreal and not Frostbite, so they're not screwing themselves with that.
Gives it one fun fresh. I mean, yeah, okay, well, maybe that's worth a little look. See The idea sounds cool. I'm all up for some mass destruction. But the thing Kippers did push me towards is something called Omega Strikers.
Right.
Which is, all right, so MOBAs and League of Legends, it's like, okay, the idea is mildly intriguing, but I hate how they control, and I hate the length of the game, and I hate, like, the complexity of it. So let's get rid of all of that and, like, make a MOBA-like control system where you play a game of football.
Right.
Kinda. Like, it's more like air hockey, if I'm going to make that analogy. But, like, so it's a 3-on-3, free-to-play football MOBA, I guess is the way to describe it. So you're, you move your characters around. You have direct control. Like the best way, for me, the best way, you can play it like a MOBA where you click to move your character to where you go on the board and then do actions with them, and, that stuff. But for me, you can WAS and D it as well and use the mouse for aiming. So I play that way. They have experimental controller support that, honestly, I think once they get it working, that will be the way to play the game. But for me, when I pushed the stick, my character went in a totally different direction. So it's kind of messed up at the moment.
Extremely experimental.
So if it works for you, great. For me, it doesn't work at all. So I hope there's an update to that. But yeah, so like so like a MOBA, there's a whole bunch of heroes, or strikers as they're called in this case, that have different abilities, different strengths and weaknesses, different ways to play, essentially. And it's a game of football. You have your strike attack that doesn't hurt that doesn't do anything to the other team members and is designed for purely hitting the ball, and you mush that towards the goal. And then you have, everyone has unique abilities. Like, I don't know, there's this big hamster fella called Dobu who has the ability of throwing a wall of sushi bowls in front of him, or just ramen or something. So he creates a little temporary barrier in front of him that will stop the ball going around both inside and out. So if you time it badly, you can actually make a problem for yourself. Like your sushi will appear on the wrong side of the ball, and it's like, oh god, it's right next to the goal. Oh, what am I doing? Or there are just straight up attacks, so you can attack the other members of the team, and they have a health bar that when it reaches low, they go into a staggered state that makes them easy to push with attacks. And if you push them off the edges of the map, they are knocked out temporarily. Giving you a power play, and the game will even, like, when you score a goal, when you're on a power play, it'll even do the sort of like hockey thing, and it's like, it's a power play goal. They forgot about the other side though. Like, if you score short-handed, they don't say short-handed goal. Like, they should really do that. And honestly, that is kind of all there is to it. But it's properly addictive, and I had a pretty great time actually with it. I found it very hard to stop playing it once I started, and I think Kips and I played it for like 4 hours straight. It's good, and it will run on practically. There's like no graphics options, but it doesn't need it because it's not like a graphical powerhouse. So Zach, you could run this. You could be our third teammate. You could be our defense that we so sorely need. Actually, I'm all right in defense. It's fine. I dig it. Yeah. Everything in the game can be earned. Well, every character in the game can be earned through progression. You don't have to buy things. There is a currency because it's free to play, because of course they have to make money somehow, but that's for skins, or if you just want to skip ahead and buy the heroes that you don't want to unlock through in-game currency, stuff like that. Which is a fine model. It's all right. No complaints there. It's a little rough around the edges, I would say, especially some of the menu stuff looks a little unfinished. But it is open beta, so it's not like out. And clearly there's plenty of room for them to add stuff to things like that, because you can sort of customize your character and be like, you can add traits to their... Yeah. You can pick certain buffs, I guess. A bit like how Multiverses does it, actually. It's quite similar to that. You need to pick a buff of this character, of this type, to go into this slot. And it's like...
This was a perfect opportunity for them to rip off the Monday Night Combat sponsors idea.
Yeah, they probably should have done that. That would have been great.
Get juiced.
Get juiced. Bacon.
Yes, bacon.
I just want to be sponsored by bacon. Churros! Oh my god, don't make me sad about Monday Night Combat again. Omega Strikers. Yeah, decent. Check it out. If you can't play it right now, that's fine. Hold off. I'm sure when it comes out of open beta, it'll be even better. But it's quite good fun at the moment.
Sweet, good to hear.
Yeah.
Omega Strikers.
And that's me.
Cool. I finished a normal run Into the Breach with the Frozen Titans this time. Hooray! So that was good. Although I screwed up on the last turn and got my ice artillery in by Tentacle because I didn't notice that the environmental thing was on it.
Well, you only need one of the pilots to survive, I guess, if you want to carry them into the next round.
Yeah, that's true. But I was like, he come the whole way. And he got eaten by a tentacle on the last turn. Oh well, never mind.
Your death won't be in vain.
So, yes, that is a good game. And if you want to see us playing it, it's available on our YouTube channel because we're playing with some of the advanced... What's it called?
Yeah, Advanced Edition.
Advanced Edition team and
the
enemies, etc. The Bomber Mechs, yeah.
And we've not... spoilers for future videos because we haven't uploaded the fourth one yet, but we're on the last mission now.
Yeah, we're about to, hopefully in the next one, after the next one.
Hopefully it'll be a nice, easy finish.
Yeah. And then...
I don't think we can possibly fail at this point.
I hope not.
No.
Unless we're real dumb.
Then
so far, we haven't been real dumb. There's been plenty of moments where it's just like, I'm sure this is the best way. And then 5 minutes later, we go, yes, but.
Yeah.
But what about
but
this?
here is the solution.
Yeah. So check that out on our YouTube channel and all our other videos. Happy Salad. And then we will be back in a couple of weeks with another one of these here Saladcasts.
Let's hope there's more interesting news.
Yeah, let's hope so. So join us then.
I mean, we were spoilt last time by Onal, Sony, PlayStation.
Yep.
Or maybe not. Onal was quite a while ago.
Sony and PlayStation.
Sony and PlayStation, sorry. They count as one entity, not two. Nintendo, some other shit going on.
Can't always be a busy week for news.
No.
But at least...
games should be coming out soon, in
That's
theory.
true. Games are coming.
I mean, we're only a couple weeks away from Bayonetta 3, guys.
Yeah.
Game of the year.
Potentially, at this point.
I think it might be Tunic, but let's see.
Well, yeah.
Right.
It's a strong contender.
Let's see. So join us for more gaming news, potentially, if any happens.
Yep.
And also all we've been playing next time on the Saladcast. Goodbye.